There we
Everything running?
go. Smoothly-ish. Finally.
Doing
How you doing today, Elgin?
well. Welcome to another episode, everybody.
Welcome to 9 Midnight. Sorry for
9
last
midnight.
week. There was quite the internet going down and beyond that, but we're back. And today is Extinct Creatures. So I know
Extinct
that
creatures and
animals,
conspiracy we have behind them,
of course,
or for them anyway.
there's always going to be that element, but
Yeah.
I thought putting it like Extinct Creatures and the conspiracy. Yeah, it was like like they're still here, and I've got the proof, man.
Exactly. Where have they been? Where are they doing?
Absolutely.
When are they going to release their next record?
Yeah.
That's going to be the Gipper when like Tupac and Elvis come riding in on a woolly mammoth.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
But then the woolly mammoth is who has the real fucking rhymes. You know what I mean?
Straight impressive. Yeah, the woolly mammoth is the one with the bars.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
The bars.
I mean,
he's
got thousands of years of being around. He's probably learned some things in a few languages too.
I bet. I definitely need to learn the new modern hip way of talking because
right.
No cap, I'm behind the times.
No cap. Exactly. You're late, is what?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
that's funny.
2000 and late. Oh, that joke sure was. Wow.
Yeah.
I guess good night, everyone.
I'm not allowing that. Edit that.
Speaking of extinct, like that joke. So, which ones were you looking into? I was really curious.
So I did dinosaurs, woolly mammoth, and the elephant bird.
And the elephant bird. Okay, I don't even know about that one.
Which it's kind of a new one for me. Hang on one second, my kids are coming in.
You got it.
Is that switch push dock?
Yeah.
But it's a new one for me. Like I didn't really do that much research on it, and it was one of those things where like I didn't know that even existed. So it's kind of exciting. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this is a whole nother animal for me. And it's completely like nothing that was ever on my radar, I guess I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, like when do you ever think of like, oh, I'm gonna go look up a giant bird?
I'm gonna go look it up. Usually, all right, the Thunderbird. The Thunderbird is one that I did like specifically look up, but people want to say that's a pterodactyl or like a giant eagle. Marahute.
Right.
Remember that?
Marahute. Ooh,
right?
Yeah.
So
Rescuers
down under. Yeah.
Yeah, good reference. Good reference on that one.
Yeah, that's like the Thunderbird is what it made it sound like, But that's it. Again, it would be something related to maybe a cryptid, but like there were gigantic eagles. We know there were, everything that we have now is a smaller version of things
smaller version of everything else. Yeah.
Yeah, the big things they lived. They were hot weather folk, and then it got cold.
Right.
Somehow the little ones,
or at least that's what we believe.
So far we know, we believe.
Right. That's so far what our belief is on it, which is interesting too. The whole me looking this up stuff or remember I brought the idea up to you was there's so many animals. There's actually like over 50 of them that are completely unexplained extinctions. So like, I just pulled up a list of 10 of them.
Oh yeah.
For example. Yeah, like I'll read them off to you. So you have, hold on one second. Oops. Here we go. So you have mysterious extinctions, Rocky Mountain locusts, and this is the insect that they included in animals, you know what I mean? The megalodon, woolly mammoth, broad-faced Potoro or Potoru. It's like a little mouse, but like they used to be thousands of them, I guess hundreds of thousands of them. And then there's a frog, which I can't even begin to pronounce. It looks like Aeolopus longotrosis.
Yeah, okay.
Or longotrisis. And then the elephant bird's on there.
The elephant bird is on there.
And then and then they consider Neanderthals. So they don't know why they're not stopped being in existence.
but I mean that's kind of interesting. I don't know. That's weird because that's kind of like they're closer to
Like they're saying
humans.
it's two different species, right?
They're not
I mean, and
human, but
that's
they're hominins like us. You
human,
know,
humanoid,
yeah,
hominin, yeah,
hominid, hominin. Yeah, you know, like they're like
yeah.
cousins. They're like, you
It's like,
know, if there were, and again, I looked into a lot of like extinct hominids and hominins, so I'm just like, I can't believe they're on that list. Where like you might find a
right.
T-Rex and you know the giant sloth, and then the Neanderthal. It's like one of these things had religion and fire and tribal mentality, and the other one was
Right.
an animal. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like
see,
one of these like had
exactly
family. Like one of these was like us.
that.
I
Yeah,
don't know if Neanderthals
that brings
belong on that list personally.
I actually think it's right in the right spot, and
Really?
the reason why I say that, yeah, is because like we think of just as humans as we are now.
Yeah,
we think of things that are lesser or smarter than us, like completely dumb, completely like non. You know what I mean? Like no way that they should have ever survived. Like they died off because they got common colds. Like we think it's always something stupid. And
yeah.
I brought that theory up to you about like the dinosaurs and stuff, and like, oh, I'm sure we'll get into it
Oh
later
yeah,
tonight.
that one's coming. That one.
Yeah. But like even like for instance, like when you look up the most recent extinct animals, like they weren't hunted, they were like non-propagated, like they couldn't have kids.
Mm-hmm.
So or that we know of, some of them like Tasmanian tiger. I forget how you pronounce this one, but there's a dolphin in China that they thought was extinct
within the last
Baiji.
Okay.
Yeah. And then it's funny. So in 1950s,
Yeah,
they were like, they're dying off, they're dying off, they're dying off. And then in like 96, 91 to 96, they were like saying it's extinct. It doesn't exist. Right. And then all of a sudden in 2001 and 2002, they started seeing them again.
really.
Yeah. But they were only in this Yangtze River.
Yeah.
And they like can go way up into the mountains and way like into hidden areas where
hide from us.
go and hide from humans. And that's literally like, you know,
Yeah.
they say dolphins are one of the most smartest aquatic mammals. So it's like they've learned to stay away from humans.
I didn't look
around
into
humans.
any one specific dolphin, but I for this research, I seen within the last like just 150 years. So industrial revolution, and for some reason, yeah, humanity got this weird hard on to just like kill. There were like we had like 50 different kinds of dolphins just like 100 years ago.
A lot of species.
There's 11 now. Hopefully, still.
Yeah,
very little. Like 11 different kinds. There used to be like littler ones, like littler dolphins. Like, can you imagine a world?
River dolphins.
Little river dolphins. Can you imagine a world where like we'd be river people and like everyone would dig like a little or something, and you had your dolphin? What if we were all, you know, like there are those. I'm just saying.
Dolphin. Yeah, yeah.
I think about those things. And they were the little pink ones. They were little and pink, weren't they? They were all pink. Yeah. The little Baja California. They lived in Baja California.
They're in California. Yeah, they had them all over the place. There's all kinds of rivers, even like in the estuaries of like Louisiana and all that Delta area. There was dolphins and stuff that they say were down in there. They find bones and everything up in that area, which is, you know, it's wild because a lot of those are freshwater areas.
Yeah.
So it's like, are you saying the dolphin could go from saltwater to fresh? I mean, bull sharks do it, but you know, they can't live there forever, but they can live there for quite a while. Oh, really?
Didn't even.
I could jump back and look, but
we're on now again. It looks like.
Oh, whatever. We'll just play it out. But jumping in and out. But like I was saying, like it's a wild thing to think. Like you're saying, we had 50, 60 species, and now we're down to like 11, and that's only happened in the past like 50 years. Yeah, and they thought for sure like, oh, this one dolphin was gone, and no, that dolphin just learned and adapted and was like, I don't want to be around humans, because that area, that Yangtze River, like became super populated by humans to the point where they were like, forget it, let's go somewhere else. And they kept going higher and higher. And they never got a chance to track these things, which is something I thought was pretty interesting too, because like we track a lot of like marine species, like put trackers on them, but they never did that to these dolphins. They never thought to do it to see like, oh, I wonder where they spawn and like, you know, do super extensive research like that. They basically were like, well, there's a couple of them. We'll just watch and see where they are every once in a while. And then it's like, well, now they're gone. Oh, wow, look, they're back. Like, it's just a weird thing to me that happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's the Caspian tiger. Again, like when things are really pretty, people like to hunt them for whatever reason, you know? Like the Caspian tiger apparently had the most, you know, sought after like pattern of stripes, you know, the slightly different pattern. And so that's why they got hunted to extinction, like by the late 70s or something like that. And that the 1970s, you know what I mean? Like 10
30,
years,
30 some years, 40 years,
40 years ago. I mean, because it was tradition for how many years that when you found that real pretty one, get it on the floor of your entranceway. Yeah, show that bad boy off.
Exactly,
man. What?
I think that's odd.
Now there's none left. They're all gone. You know,
a lot of the extincts are from hunting, like, but it's not hunting like for food.
It's sport. It's the sport hunting.
Yeah, like, that's what I'm
so talking
weird
about.
To me. Like,
there's a
like
difference.
All the animals, so like black rhinoceros, right?
Oh yeah.
Like there's 15 different species. I think there was. I was reading, and this one is they're huge. They're really big. Yeah. So of course they went after all of them, and they believe that like their horns are like the best medicinal properties. So they were killing all the West African black rhinos, like we're getting just murdered off the face of the earth. And then
these things are used like aphrodisiacs, like tigers,
yeah,
whatever, you know, tigers, you know, they use the reproductive organs, and they use horns, exactly. They'll use, I mean,
feet, all that stuff. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, none of that sounds like it's going to stimulate. I mean, like, all right, eat this animal's balls. I'm sorry, you know, I'm going to get graphic. Hey, do you want to be really good at having sex with your wife? Go suck your bro's cock first.
Right? That's the only way.
That's like the exact same. I'm sorry, it's the same correlation. Like if eating an animal's testicles is supposed to make you better, then just find your friend.
Wouldn't a direct
then
eat human
then
balls.
All of society misses like like everyone wants to be like ancient Macedonia, just won't admit it. Right? It's like there's something to that.
Too close to too on the nose for me. Like you eat a horn so you can become horny and get harder. Like, come on, guys, we're past that. We're past that, aren't we?
Now this plant is not extinct, but then there's that horny goat weed that they said. But apparently, if it's an aphrodisiac, and then they named it after something that'll. That makes sense. It's like someone had to eat that and go, funny. You know what that does?
I ate some tea the other day.
And I'm going to go find more, and I'm going to plant it. I'm going to plant fields of it.
My wife made me buy all of it up. And
exactly. There's none left in the store. So
exactly.
But
like that was interesting too. And like a lot of that, again, like they hunted mostly all the males, so they can't have babies.
Yeah,
they went extinct. It's the dumbest thing ever. Like Jesus, if you kill off all of your source, you're not gonna have that source anymore. It's kind of like our fishing and fisheries and all that stuff.
That conservation or sustainability, right?
Sustainability,
People didn't think about that as much. You know what I mean? No one, I think the only country in the world still allowed to fish for bluefin tuna is Japan, because it's one of those cultural rights. Like the only people allowed to kill seals are Inuit, and right, you know what I mean? Anyone else, if you were me and you're caught clubbing a seal,
you're
goodbye. Lock you up, like real bad. And I don't want to. I'm not saying I want to, but you know what I mean. There are a group of people in this world who, as I've understood, it's part of a tradition and it's part of their heritage, and so no one. So it's like it doesn't even like sound the same when you put it that way. It's weird. It's like it's a weird thing. They've always done it. that's how they survived.
That's their survival.
Like, that was their survival. Source. That was their only way for so long. It's like, well,
it's like not only food but clothing and lighting and fuel,
and
like,
they're also not the reasons why they're going extinct these days.
Right?
It's not them.
To tell, and they would have times and seasons when they would hunt them. They wouldn't hunt them all year round because they knew, hey, if we hunt them all, we'll have nothing to eat. We'll have nothing to use. Like, don't do that. That's dumb.
Something about the Industrial Revolution started making people think that, like, in the beginning, like, resources were they were unlimited under the ground, and we were going to find them everywhere or whatever.
I think that
there's always more animals. Refrigeration. You think
that's what I think? Yeah, that's what I think ruined a lot of, like, sustainability when it comes to animals. Like, I believe before you would kill one, you'd have to eat it, and you'd have to either smoke the meat and keep all that meat, or preserve it in salt or yada yada, some other way.
Absolutely.
Because it wasn't going to last forever, so you would only kill what you needed in one of them, and you would spread it out, even like a cow. You know what I mean? You would kill the cow and feed the whole village.
Yeah.
Because it was too much meat to be sitting around. It would rot and go to bad. So everyone ate the cow, and that was like a big festival, a big thing. Whereas now it's like you could kill 1 million cows and freeze them.
Exactly. Yeah, you can just save them for a long time.
You know what I mean? You just keep it forever. Also, and the mindset, like, turned from, like, okay, only kill what you need, to hey, if you kill it, you can store it. Oh, we'll just kill a bunch, so we always have it. Someone will always buy it. If we always have it, it's a lot easier for them to come to my grocery store that has refrigeration. That, you know what I mean? Like, grocery stores.
But here's the other thing: without refrigeration, at the same time, we are getting a little bit off of extinct creatures and animals and everything. But I want to say, if it weren't for refrigeration,
we'll talk about bison.
Right. But I was thinking, as far as being able to have, now, living locally, eating locally and sustainably is always great, but I'm probably more guilty than anyone else of wanting to go to the international market and purchase 2 pounds of turmeric from that store, because 2 pounds of turmeric is $1.50, and the best turmeric I've ever had, instead of spending $5 for that much little bit. And it's like, I'm just saying, little things like that. I want to get these nice and fancy things from across. And so if it wasn't for refrigeration,
don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's the devil. I'm just saying
it's hard. It's a weird balance.
It probably didn't help.
But like, everyone was so excited about, like, now we've got refrigeration and canning and
we had ice, and we can take ice and canning. Yeah, exactly. We'll can it and keep it on ice and ship it across the world. Like,
America definitely, almost more than anyone else. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? We'll just freeze them all. We'll save them forever, and then we'll go keep getting more, because there's always going to be more. Because there was something about no one had realized things can go away if we try hard enough, or if we don't realize we're working that hard at it. You know?
Right? The math isn't adding up. No one took the time to do a little bit of scientific research, like, hey, how many of these animals are being born during what times? It's like, oh, who cares? Let's get all the males because they have the biggest coats.
Right?
Yeah, I don't give a crap about that. Let's you know what I mean? Like, let's wipe bison off of the face of the earth
because because they're warm.
Yeah, because they're warm. Like, what? You know what I mean? Like, even the indigenous people that were here before were like, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that so much? Like, what is the reasoning behind that?
Yeah, there was, from what little I know, the people who lived here before, the Western world, in Western Europe invaded, like, they seem to just be like observant of, like, look, if we build up cities in any of this area, then we're going to get run over by bison.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of
come
them.
Through here.
This is where they go.
Don't put your sleeping bag here. Like,
and
hello,
we've seen this happen so many times. Like, hey, look, there's rugs and carpets and blankets just running right at us, man.
These jackets running right into your bullets. It's awesome.
It's crazy, and they just are like, they got to be coming from somewhere. They're probably just going to keep on coming. It's like, they go in circles.
Look how many there are. Just keep shooting at them.
But the same thing
keep
happens
coming
in
over the
Africa
hill.
too. In Africa, things have happened like that.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be from again, people sport hunting. They want to,
Yeah, I
you know,
mean,
put
like
heads
we're
on
saying, the
walls
West
or
African,
something.
yeah, West African black rhinoceros, all those
Mhm.
kind of things. You know, like they were there. I mean, the
Elephants for
ibex or
ivory.
praying in ibex. You know, like those
Mhm.
were like
The ibex, like the gazelles that are on the mountains.
yeah,
Like
it's
mountain
specific
gazelles, right?
it's like a specific Spanish one or Iberian also.
Am I right about that?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. They're like mountain indigenous little, what do you call it?
Like
Like
gazelle,
gazelle,
impalas or
kind of
something.
deerish.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah,
like the little
but they're like
kind.
mountains. They're in the
Yeah,
mountains. You know what I mean?
that's really cool.
But they eradicated them because their meat was tasty.
Yeah, and I think they probably had like a pretty coat too. Like they had pretty like
no, they look like
oh no,
they're really like no, these aren't like the beautiful ones, but these are like because they climb up in the mountains and they're like they eat grass, like this specific grass and herb. They only eat like this little specific grass and herb.
Gotcha.
Their meat tasted really good, so they literally hunted them into non-existence.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like during the industrial age, you know what I mean, when people were able to be in the early 1900s. It says the numbers fell to lower than 100.
You know,
and they were historically they were numbered in numbers of 50,000. Like that's from Nat Geo. Like, holy crap, they had numbers higher than 50 Gs, and then in the span of 60 years, they went to 100, less than 100. Yeah. Like that is a crazy level of extinction and a crazy like I don't want to say like conspiracy or like it's really weird to think we took one species and ate them into extinction.
The coconut crab very recently, I think, moved down into the threatened.
Oh, really?
Because now the first time, and I'm not gonna lie,
the really big ones, right? The ones that can like
giant ones that climb. Their food source is coconuts.
Right.
They are all right. I'm guilty of wanting to do something that might move them down that list, unfortunately. But all right, the first time I heard about them, again, and this is the thing, I'm an animal too. I want to eat, you know, but it's like it was Anthony Bourdain, you know what I mean? He was a cool, great guy.
Right.
Miss that guy, but he traveled to the place where they are, and they're climbing on, and he was showing these giant, and it's like, so what do you do to season it? And they're just like, we steam them. And he's just like, what else?
It's pre-seasoned.
And they're just like, you'll see. And he
bite into it and tell me.
And I mean, like, if anyone could probably hold back their tears, it was that guy. But I'm telling you, the look on his face, I felt like if I was eating that crab, and he was just explaining, he's like, it's like they wanted this. It's like they marinated themselves. It's like they marinated themselves in coconut.
Themselves.
It's
it's
coconut crab. This is right, and it's just I hate how much I want to do something for where they are on this list, but they're here. They're still here. So we need to get them everywhere. Like we need to plant coconuts everywhere. Make sure they're everywhere. Make sure that we're moving down onto the on that threatened list, so that we have enough coconut crabs to move back up the list. Anyway,
I feel like if we can farm things, farming animals should be one of the things that extinct animals or threatened animals should be high on the list. Right. So hear me out. This is
a crab hack for sure.
This is another like not conspiracy, but this is another thought I've had. So say for every dairy farm that you have, right?
Okay.
Any dairy farmer that's like, hey, I'm going to start up a dairy farm in this area. I have this amount of land, yada, yada. He has to now take an endangered species and have it feed or whatever on his land to help bring back the species.
So you mean like what happened in Yellowstone, the way when they brought wolves back? Oh, look, it brought balance because they killed off all the predators. So they brought a predator back, and it naturally, like, the rivers started flowing in the right directions again, just because there were enough beavers to fix things. Like it was just it didn't.
It's how simple is that though? Like if you're going to use a farm, if we're going to use a farm for food processing or making that we'll call it food processing in quotations, why can't we use it also for something like that? Like, okay, you're going to put all these ibex up there in your dairy farm that's in the mountains because they'll just run free and eat off your grain and everything. But that is part of you owning a dairy farm.
I definitely
like for you to have one that would be, I'm like, that would be a great trade-off because then it's like you're giving back to the earth while using the earth to some degree. You know what I mean?
It's always those great ideas that just
so simple.
How's not not happening more? Like how many people just like animals so much? It's like the government gives out grants for businesses and stuff, right? But here's the other thing too. Like in our country, it doesn't seem to be encouraged to be an independent farmer anymore. Anyway,
no,
so
it's hard though.
So
that's
like it's not like you're going to get a government grant to become like a conglomerate.
Right.
What do you want to do? I want to compete with Monsanto. Can I get that kind of a loan?
Yeah, anybody got a loan money for that?
No one's got no,
get out, sir.
no one ever has collateral for that, right? Yeah, so like what are you saying? It's like I'd like to take out a loan at Wells Fargo. Who's your own business competition? Halliburton.
Is that going to be a problem?
Yeah. It's like one. I want to see who you have working with you. You think you can do this? But first of all, no one's ever going to give you. You're not going to find 6 banks to give you parts of that loan.
No.
Yeah,
they're not coming together.
And I only use those because these are just giant companies. Like,
right.
But
I think like you can almost make that like their taxing kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like to become like this farmer, like, or even if you're going to have a giant farm, you have to give back.
The problem is the way that kind of stuff is abused.
They are doing some of that, like with like mineral rights and stuff like that for the lands and things like that. Like you have to do specific things to be a farmer. But like, I think anybody who's owning that big much of a land and has that big of a detriment to the land or the ecosystem, like they should make you do something to give back. Even like the fisheries, like with this whole dolphin thing we're talking about, like, okay, yeah, every once in a while a dolphin or something's going to get caught up in the nets, but you should only have a certain area and there should be only a certain demand that, look, this is the only time when you can get it. These are the only times when you can fish for it. Here's the cap on the price, or not necessarily a cap, but like, hey, here's the, best time to do it. And these are the pricing that you guys are able to sell them at. You know what I mean? And make it like a thing where, hey, you can be competitive because some countries will want it more than other countries. So you can still take, like tuna, like you were bringing that up. That's a good example.
The bluefin tuna.
Like bluefin tuna isn't as big a draw. Isn't it a big draw here as it is in Japan?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like even in like China, like
as people know
it's
about
growing, it's growing, but in Japan,
it's
like gold.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like gold and diamond. Like it's super high end stuff. Like there are thousands and thousands of dollars that go into like the research of bluefin tuna and how they are being, how they're being hunted and fished and then processed too. Like now they're learning how to process them a lot better. And I actually watched a documentary on that, funny enough.
Really?
It was actually there's another documentary too, which anybody who's listening, you should go watch. It's called Automat. It's not really.
Did you watch that one? No, but honestly, I love the Automat.
It's just about food because we were bringing it up, but I was talking about food. But yeah,
is it about like the specific format of the Automat?
It's all about Automat, the whole Automats.
I gotta watch that one. Maybe I saw
Mel Brooks is in it.
Okay, yeah, no, I haven't seen it.
It's great. It's great. I think it's on Prime. I'm pretty sure it's on Amazon Prime.
But yeah, no, I've got this like sick of fascination with the Automat. It's like half cafeteria, but everyone acted like it was so fucking classy back then, and it was just
but it was though. When you watch that, it's gonna blow your mind,
and it is because I know what they were serving, and I know you could go grab like a peanut butter jelly, but I know you could walk over there and grab like the roast beef,
like a roast beef,
or carrots.
Bring it. The reason why I brought that up too is like
I love
instead of them like having this canned food cafeteria thing, they made a certain amount of food at one location and put them in these Automat things, and they sold them for nickels.
This is relevant, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about an extinct restaurant format.
It is. Okay, exactly. It is. It went extinct in 1991, in fact, this is another
the very last one. Yeah.
The very last one was running in 1991.
Was it in Germany?
No, it was here in America.
The American one? I think there's still one in Germany then.
There's still a few of them in like Germany, Russia, all over, but they're not exactly automats. They're like kind of different anyways. Yeah. But like the point of it was like they gave the highest quality food at the lowest price because they figured out we can get potatoes during this time that are perfect potatoes.
Yeah.
We can get pumpkins at this time because they're perfect and they grow huge. And they knew the owners of the automat were so smart. They knew every seasonal thing that would grow at the best and most flavorful time, so they could buy them from those farms that were close and get them for cheap, so they could sell them for cheap, to the point where they literally were like way bigger than what you would consider like McDonald's or any of those things right now. Like they were huge. They were international. They were international. They were gigantic. You know what I mean? Like their system was being copied around the world because, and it first started in France, actually, I think, exactly. But the whole system got like out of hand to the point where like they were so big they didn't know how to keep growing. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how like this whole extinction thing is what I'm thinking is like, okay, they figured, we can kill off buffalo, we can get clothing from them. And it's like, well, that's the quickest, easiest way. Let's just everybody kill buffalo. Yeah. And then it's like a mad rush for it, kind of like the gold rush time. You know what I mean? Like,
again, these were overlapping times because these were societal mentalities of just somehow, and it's like, I also don't believe that like ancient people were idiots or anything, but somehow there are certain weird things where people just at this point in time, they got so stoked when they found out about a resource that everyone forgot that resources run out.
Well, I think no one knew that they could run out.
That's what I'm saying. They just didn't even understand. You can kill
science
it.
Wasn't even a thing that was like, hey, if you dig up the earth, it's going to mess up the ecosystem. It was like, nah, just keep digging holes in the mountain.
Yeah. Dig up all the trees. The roots hold it together and provide the organic material that keeps the soil from turning into sliding off sand.
The face. Yeah, from sliding off the face of the mountain and killing everyone down below. So
no trees for shade, no grass.
Rains, by the way,
none of that. Yeah. None of that. No mushroom mycelium. None of that. No roots. No mycelium. Yeah. Then all that dust. That's just dirt. It's just a desert
Sand,
now.
Yeah.
Wonder why there's deserts everywhere. That's why, honestly, I don't understand why people like to desert landscape, because landscaping is terraforming. Like, we should be in the habit of first, if you're in a dry place, start planting lots of trees that don't need as much water. It's a slow process if you want to transform, but I mean, again,
trees bring rain. Well, trees bring rain, right?
Trees bring rain, though, right? Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Rain makes rainforests. Kind of a big circle, isn't it?
Slow. Again, it's one of those things. Nobody for generations thought about that, future generations.
Well, it's like, I mean, it's a funny thing to think, like, the first person to figure out, hey, I can take a buffalo and mix it with this other cow and create a dairy cow. And then he was like, wow, this cow creates a lot of milk. I'll just keep doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's literally what happened. Like, I can take this buffalo or this whatever species and create what we have now as dairy cows, because dairy cows didn't exist in the wild.
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
not dairy cows.
Like 400 or 500 years ago, dairy cows were not a thing.
No, it was what they call animal husbandry, and if you try to do it to human beings, it's called what's it called? Oh my goodness, eugenics.
Eugenics,
right?
Yeah.
When people try to do it within humans, it's eugenics. It's like specific breeding, but it's all right to do it for horses and cows because it's just animal husbandry. Right, but don't apply these techniques to people now. Of course,
you want the best of the best meats, and you can't eat humans now because that's wrong.
Well, now we have enough animals
diseases.
to where there's no justification. Oh yeah,
there's no need to eat your neighbor because now we have cows and horses, and I can make a cow grow up, 7 years faster than what it should be.
Mhm.
Like what? I can bring a pig to slaughter in literally 2 years. Like what the hell?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Insane. They've tweaked nature to fit science, to some degree.
Those deer that are on Molokai, those are not native, right? They're on Molokai, right? Am I correct about which island? Which one? The specific deer that lives on one of the Hawaiian islands. And because now I've never gone hunting for any kind of a venison or an elk or anything. I love the meat. It's one of those, like, opportunity and time never lined up or anything where like, because it's not such a thing that I want to do where I would go out of my way to do it. But
I see what you're talking about. Yeah.
What kind of deer those are?
It's called an axis deer.
Axis deer, yes.
AXIS. It is deemed as a serious burden.
Oh, it's a burden to them. Yeah, they love it if you want to come hunt them because there's too many. But are they non-native? Are they an invasive species?
Yeah, they're not native. They're Indian.
Yeah, they're Indian, and they're
considered everything. A pest, so you can just blast them like from your truck. It says.
Yeah, like they just want them gone. Again, it's like when we were talking about Australia with the frogs, and now like the snakes,
coyotes,
like,
same thing.
Which again, coyotes though, like.
In some areas, not all areas.
Like to survive.
You are right. Maui and Molokai. Sorry.
Maui and Molokai. Yeah. I was like, I know Molokai because I love the purple sweet potatoes, right? They're really great ones, and my brain was just like, if those deer aren't there, then I just like those potatoes too much.
Right? I just like the potatoes.
I just really like those sweet potatoes way too much.
I'm locked in on sweet potatoes.
I'm locked in on those then, I guess. I ate too. I ate today, so I'm not hungry. But those potatoes, they're that good. Yeah, there are a few places where animals become pests and everything. Oh man, I just was getting on to another thing. Potatoes made me lose my train of thought. Sweet potatoes. Everyone out there, not everyone, because then there won't be any more, but
not everyone, please. Yeah.
Not everyone all at once, at least, but slowly. But everyone try a purple sweet potato from Molokai. Sure, why not?
Why
not? Sponsored by.
We'll send a shot out. Yeah, exactly. I was about to say Molokai Potato Services. Blah blah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just start talking.
You know what I mean?
That'd be great.
Yeah, it is not a subsidiary of 9midnight.
Yeah. They do not endorse this or anything. We just like
we do not
just
damn us, but they will.
Potatoes.
Yeah, those potatoes are delicious, actually.
Delicious and sweet.
But that brings up another thing too, like the woolly mammoth.
Okay.
So, or excuse me, actually, let me switch back to the elephant bird.
Okay, yes.
I'll go with that one first.
What a
so this thing is like, I know I spun us off there. That's elephant my fault too. Elephant bird, right? This thing is like 10 feet tall, right?
Love it.
Over 400 up to like 1,000 pounds, which is like 2 times the size of an ostrich, right?
Yeah, I'm imagining just like a twice as big ostrich almost.
It's a giant ostrich in my mind. They have like bones of them.
Oh,
just gigantic ostrich, right? The egg, get this. This was the part that I was like, now I know why they were extinct. The egg is 150 times the size of a normal hen's egg. 150 times. So like
150 times the size of a normal hen's egg.
Normal egg, that big, right? 150 times
150
that.
Egg. All right.
Bigger than a basketball. That's like a giant watermelon. That's how big that would be.
50 batches of cookies. The way I do cookies.
Yeah, that's like that's an egg like this big, like a giant watermelon. Like what
bro.
the hell, bro?
I mean like almost a beach ball, bro.
Yeah, like a watermelon, you know what I mean? Like a decent sized watermelon.
I don't know why I was thinking watermelon's smaller. But yeah, because the ostrich egg is like
ostrich egg is like a volleyball.
It's like a volleyball, and it's about like 50. It's like 30 to 50 or whatever.
Yeah, it's like maybe like 50% bigger than or not or
it's about equivalent to about 50
eggs,
hen's eggs.
Hen's eggs, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm like, dude, that's insane. So like we were talking about propagation and having babies and stuff, like if we're eating all those giant eggs because they're that delicious, well, I like eggs a lot. I'm like, I get why that species fell off the face of the earth.
I mean,
not only can they not have children because we're eating them, but we're also eating their embryos before they're born. Like, holy crap!
Yeah,
you know
there's no future generations because I mean, if there are people and the tribe finds one, it's like we're all eating omelets tonight. No, we're all eating omelets.
By the way,
tonight.
I found 2 eggs yesterday. Everybody in the village is eating
for the week at 2 eggs. Christ, at 2 eggs, wow! Look at me. My imagination. I was at 1 egg. I was at 1 egg in my fucking mind. Like we're all eating good tonight,
dude. Like man, you know what I mean? Like you think of like a bird's nest, like 4 or 5 eggs. It's like you found that, you're set. You know what I mean? You are set.
Can you imagine a world where we had those more again? But we don't even live in a world where people consume ostrich eggs, even though we can sustainably
not regularly.
Not regularly, even though I think they're healthier. But I think the major issue is
it's not traditional.
I really honestly think that the reason why it won't become traditional for a while is because if you crack 1 ostrich egg, that's a lot fucking more than you're planning. That's a lot more egg than you probably need today. It's just a lot more egg than you need. Yeah. How do you sell that? How would you sell that? And you know what the best part is? You're gonna have to throw some out because
it's not gonna last.
It just won't last if you're a single dude or a married couple.
Yeah. What are you gonna have? 1 box full of ostrich egg?
I mean, if you had a carton of 12 ostrich eggs,
just one ostrich egg, but in a gallon. You know what I mean? In gallon, ostrich egg gallons,
right?
You know, that's all. That's the only way you could sell that. You know what I mean? Like
then there'd be a generation.
You have to sell the whites and the yellows, and then you can buy them in half gallons because it's only 2 eggs to make a half gallon. You know, like holy shit.
Like my dad's generation, like kind of like boomer generation ish, right? I mean, maybe. His was the generation where he was kind of like the just a little bit later than like Beaver Cleaver and stuff. Not that he's younger than that, but so he's like the mom's always cooked dinner, and so many people hated Brussels sprouts in America for years because apparently just everyone's mom made them in America for like the 40s and the 50s. And then so all the kids of the 50s and 40s, 50s, hated 60s. Them. Yeah. All right. So my parents, like people talked about in cartoons forever how Brussels sprouts are gross and everyone hates Brussels sprouts. I didn't even have to have Brussels sprout because my dad, my parents hated them.
Like them?
No, I never even had them.
That's funny.
I never even, like one day I was in my 20s. I was just like, my God, have I gone this long? And I don't even, I haven't even formed my own opinion. I tried one.
I don't even know.
You know what I mean? They were charred. They were great. Yeah, they're great charred. You know what I mean? And guess what? I was like, the fuck is wrong with a whole generation of Americans who just like they get sick at the sight of them? But that's the other thing about going back to the refrigerator, making things extinct. America right now, we have a whole generation of people who basically like not a generation, but even slowly but surely, a lot of like pickle taste, fermentation. Old methods, even old methods of preserving things. People don't they don't have a taste for it. They don't appreciate it. People think
because of refrigeration and all that. Yeah,
every bar in America used to have a jar of pickled eggs. Do you know why? Because people were buying and eating them.
Yeah, pickled pig feet, pickled eggs, all that.
Pickled everything. Why? Because someone's going to buy some. It was what they called drunk food. You know what I mean? They don't have it in America anymore. People think it's like people like call the health department on these things because it's like they're pickling their own eggs. It's like oh my god. Right. But this is what people don't have a taste for fermented food because of the advent of the refrigerator. Right. That's what I wanted to say before. Circling right back into the theme, which is
you got
animals. And I was looking at a lot of hominids. The cousins, our cousins.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? I mean, that's what I look at.
With Gigantopithecus and all those.
Gigantopithecus, even like modern day chimpanzees and bonobos. You know what I mean? Like I make jokes I make the jokes that obviously I think of evolution. I believe in evolution to a degree, but for the sake of like joking on that line, I always say I think that we evolved from chimpanzees because we're more warlike, and but some people
Okay.
evolved from bonobos because they're peaceful and they just down the fuck, and it's like,
Okay.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But because it's like most of us are chimpanzees because we'll be aggressive and we'll fight with people at the drop of a hat. You know what I mean? Like maybe, or we will be more aggressive. And but if we all evolved from bonobos, it would just be, it would smell like a locker room in this planet. I'll just put it that way. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But a lot of these other ones, the Denisovans are ones that I was interested in. The
Which one?
Denisovians. Have you heard of these ones at all?
No, no. I'm actually looking up as you talk. I'm pulling it up right now.
DENISOV.
ANS.
Denisovan. Denisovan. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah. So again, like Neanderthal, like you know. And we also, I need to look this one up. I didn't look up. They found what they're calling the Hobbit species. It was a human who was proportional. They didn't suffer from one of the genetic the disorders that cause height changes in people or whatever. In the not proportional way. It was just like they were just proportionally like 2.5 or like 3 feet tall people that they found or something apparently. But
did they actually find like skeleton remains of these people, or
well,
is
I
it
didn't.
like
Well, the Hobbit one, I think
no?
yes.
I mean the Denisovan.
The Denisovans, yes. What did they found? They found teeth. Which the great thing about teeth is you can always find. I think you can find some of the most DNA evidence. So when they do the DNA evidence, they find that let's see. Here it is. This is from Wikipedia. This part, but it says that they were interbreeding with modern humans. Again, just like me, I have some Anglo-Saxon descent. So people who are like straight up, European, like Western European Anglo-Saxon descent, they have like up to I don't remember. It might be up to a 4 or maybe up to like a 5 or 6% Neanderthal genetic remains. But for Denisovans, with humans, about up to 5% in Melanesians, Aboriginal Australians, and in the Philippines as well. Let's see. I thought they said, but yeah, again, up to 5%. So in a whole other part of the world, rather than having a genetic intermix with a cousin, I don't know how else to put it. I mean, you see these pictures
right.
of what
Offshoot cousin, yeah.
they
think they look like. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at too.
Look what their skeletons look like. Look what ours look like. We find that we can interbreed. They're just, that's just it. That's just it. You know what I mean? Like if you can mix, we just talked about the dairy cow. That's us, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We are the dairy cow. We are what happens when you take these wild hominids. You take a little bit of Denisovan and you mix it in. You take a little bit of Neanderthal and you mix it in, and like that's what kind of happened. The way we figured out how to make dairy cows, somehow, slowly but surely, we've been doing that with ourselves, intermixing.
Right.
And the Denisovans apparently, again, not just in the Asian areas and stuff, but in the Aboriginal Australian.
Australian, yeah.
I mean, so that is like,
yeah.
Were they, and in the Philippines and Melanesia, right? It's like sounds like seafarers,
right? Sounds like travelers, yeah.
It's crazy, like to think of like people.
Well, I mean, but then you escape your area, or you go to where the food is. You know, what I mean, that's kind of also what our topic is about, like extinction wise. Like when
spreading out,
spreading out. Like when you're used to hunting this area, when the food leaves, you have to leave. It's like especially as an animal, you're like, I gotta leave. These stupid humans are pushing my animal, or pushing my prey out. I gotta go, or pushing out. Or killing off the grasslands. They got to move.
And worst case is even and guilty of it in my home state, my home, California, man. It's like we still have the fucking bear on the flag, and we in California are the ones who killed all the bears in California. There aren't bears in California anymore, right? It's like because there was again a generation of people who were just like, bears are a nuisance and they look really good on the wall. And that was
get into our cabin and they're cool statues.
Yeah. I don't know. I understand the idea.
Bear meat's okay, by the way.
But bear meat, it's all
right.
I had it one time.
A little too lean for me.
It I don't know. It was lean, but it just, I don't know. I don't think it was my favorite. I like venison. Like I would like to go hunt, again, not one that's endangered or anything, and when it's in season and properly and the right way,
sustainably.
You know what I mean? Of course, I don't want things to go away. I've talked about this before. How I love tigers, just the ones that are still left, right? The Bengal tigers, especially. But even I think are they the Siberian tigers? The white ones. I think all of them are becoming like endangered because
more and more rare.
Approaching and hunting them, and people still wanting their aphrodisiacs and wanting their rugs,
and the planet getting hotter. You know what I mean? All that stuff.
But I mean, man, we gotta find other places that we can start to try to grow populations, like preserves, like tribes.
I think not doing the easy thing somewhat will make that happen. You know what I mean? Like back in the day, like I look at it like this, and this is a total spin-off of the subject, but it probably makes some sense to the subject. Like back in the day, like in the Western times, because you know me, I'm a Western guy. Like when they wanted to go somewhere and start a new place, they just went out in the middle of nowhere and we're like, all we need to find is water or close water where we can bucket it over here and we'll make a farm. Or we'll, you know what I mean? They didn't go and like destroy really nice areas and turn them into farms like we do now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we'll like clear cut a forest to pop up something nice. You know what I mean? It's like, God, we changed from like, hey, it's really hard to be a farmer because you have to make the land help you help yourself. Whereas now we're like, hey, if you dig a ditch, the water, you know what I mean? We'll go like, if you destroy this ecosystem, you can have water on your farm. Like, God alive. Like we made it too easy for everybody to do it to the point where now we're ruining things using our convenience, using our convenience, really.
Again, my home in California, Southern California around LA, no place is kind of more guilty in the past of, just all the water aquifers and redirections of all the natural water down there. There's so much water. Like LA's kind of built on like a swamp, and yet somehow water is so redirected in California that it's droughts all the time and fucking dying. And it's so dry, it's on fire all the time.
Yeah, catching fire, literally. Yeah, crazy. Not getting enough rainfall to stop it from.
And I know I harp on things like this.
Wild.
But that guy I talk about who before World War I, he was trying to basically figure out technology to terraform. Like he figured out, he built like, it was a rudimentary solar power. I think it was just mirrors focusing like the sun into like metal tanks filled with water, and it was creating steam power.
That's exactly what solar power is, by the way.
Yeah,
you just described how solar power works.
But I'm saying, but that is, but he was just like, but not on micro levels like it kind of does in these waves and everything. But he was doing like the really giant. You know what I mean? It was just fucking.
Yeah. Have you seen a solar field? Those are wild.
Yeah.
You talk about something that looks unnatural.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God! But it does help. But it's like, oh my God! Like, the side of that is insane. I wonder how that looks like from really high up in a plane.
It should be law that that's what everyone's roof is made out of. I don't understand. We have the technology. Why is that not implemented
Tesla
like
panels and all that?
Yeah. Why is that not implemented like
because
that?
you would probably. Oh,
is it because old money is
threatened? Infrastructure?
Is it because society's old money, big wigs are? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So fuck the future. Fuck the future again, except for some.
Think about this: a whole country would probably be wiped off the face of the earth.
Which,
like Saudi Arabia and all that, would be gone.
Well,
if we stopped like no fossil fuels anymore, they would be broke and like it would destroy that whole country. Like that country is wrapped around oil to the point where like the class level is insane there. It's like either you're dumb rich for the next forever generations, or you're dumb broke and you have to have these rich people to give you anything. Like it's insane over there.
There's like a servant class, and
it's like
almost
indentured servitude again.
Serf class.
Well, exactly. Same idea. Yeah.
And no,
it's crazy though.
But again, it's not. Nothing's ever easy because, and it's funny
that's
because
why.
One way or the other, the way things go is it's leading to, well, we're kind of next on this extinction list, everyone. What happens when we dry up all the land and nothing produces, and then, by the way, all the animals died before we could even eat them because we killed all their food first, and then, well, guess who's next?
Yeah.
It's like
I agree 100%. That's
we're
why
not thinking. It's not thinking about anything.
It's kind of why, like, I was thinking, leading into my main subject of tonight, like the woolly mammoth, right? Okay. This one was kind of talks about what you're talking about. Like the woolly mammoth was in every continent, right? Which is weird. First of all, every continent, well, except for Australia, they don't talk about it being there, but every continent it was on, and
not a lot's native there.
Yeah, not a lot. Australia is pretty far away from everything. Funny enough, but
what is there is very
yeah. Sorry, right. So the woolly mammoth actually started to leave, and this is if you believe in like Pangea and all that. The single continent, I believe it was called.
Pangea.
It left all of our areas that we would normally think like Northern America and populated Europe, and went into Siberia because of human existence. Like they proved that they actually, like, there was herding towards Siberia to get away from human existence.
More humans, let's get away.
As the time, like they have like not written, but like, sort of a story accounts of like through time how like this group of people saw them leaving and heading this way, and then this group of people said everyone says they're headed to Siberia, and that's the only place where they found them so far. They're in Antarctica, you know what I mean? Like, well, traces of them.
Places where there have been glaciers for the
glaciers and
30,000 years,
where they were suited to live. You know what I mean?
Not just that. Well, they were also
what we believe anyway, for them to be suited to live.
They could also be plains, because here's the other thing too. Now, when I think about the woolly mammoth, I think about the now the modern camel, the single hump yellow camel that if you imagine people walking in the dunes with camels, or Indiana Jones, like those are I think again a situation just like the dairy cow, where these are a husbandried version. But I mean, this happened so long ago, it's like these are camels too, but if you see the other kinds, the double hump camels,
right,
those are like an ancient wild native breed, like a wolf is a wolf, and a dog we made. There's the camel with two humps is what they found is that these shaggy animals, it seems these shaggy animals are perfectly, camels don't have that hump, that reservoir of fat and nutrition reserves, because they evolved in the desert. There's proof that it is because they evolved in snow. They are equally equipped for the harshest cold which also makes them perfectly equipped for the harshest heat. It's insane, because if you think about like reptiles,
camels you're talking about, right?
The double humped camels, right? The shaggier ones, right?
Bactrian, yeah, Bactrian.
I believe so.
That's what it is. I'm
I
reading
actually didn't look into them. This is something that just popped in my head that I know about from before.
It's exactly what you're saying. Yeah,
it is okay.
Because like they shed. It says they're the thickest coat, and they come from like the frozen. Where here is this? Hang on.
They come from like the Siberia when it was frozen.
Siberian Gobi Desert, all up in that area, and then they can shed their coat and travel travel 400 to 800 miles at a time and go into a whole nother climate and shed most of their fur. Into a desert, like a hot desert, shed their fur where they just
don't need it anymore.
They don't need it, so they're like, "I'm take this jacket off." You know, that's what it seems like it says.
You know, if you have a cold weather dog, hey, people who have a cold weather dog with a nice big furry thick coat and everything. I got an Australian Shepherd, and if it's a really cold place, they'll get a really cold winter coat. And then in the summertime, you got to brush them 5 times more because you got to make sure you get that out. It's like there's like a season and a change in things, and these camels had some sort of like, hey, you know what? Let's grow the big thick hair if we're gonna hang out in here. We'll hang out here. And then some of them were like, we're gonna go south and shed our fur.
Yeah,
because
it's interesting too because it says that their temperament is different. I didn't know that at all.
The temperament I can't remember much about.
So the single hump ones, this is because I'm just reading it as you're talking as well. I am paying attention, but the single hump ones, they're called where are they here? Dromedary camel. Yeah, they have the same uniform length of hair all year around, and they are constantly mean. They're just always in a bad mood, pretty much.
Again, ancient wild animals, not tame.
Yeah. Whereas the 2 hump ones are completely like chill. Yeah, the other way around.
Oh, the other way around. Wait, the 2 hump ones are cool?
The 2 hump ones are cool. Yeah, like they're pretty mild. It says right here in general,
I completely forgot
everything
about camel temperament.
Camels are mild mannered. They're not hot tempered like the Dromedy the Dromedy camel. Yeah, estimates. Wow, that's crazy.
That's wild. And so everyone, so the most popular camel in the world is the one that's a dick. What the hell? You know what I mean? Like,
because they're easier to breed. That's why. Yeah. But
once you find the glitch, you got to stick with it, even if it's a dirty glitch.
Yeah, if you can get the other ones, the Bactrian or Bactrian camels, if you can get them, they're worth way more than a single hump because they can carry more stuff. They're bigger, actually.
And I'll liken this again to
bigger and stronger.
What?
I'm sorry, I was saying they're bigger and stronger.
Oh, yeah, I was going to liken this to dogs again because they're an animal that have extinct ancestors like us. Like the dog history even kind of follows this ancient hominin one that I was looking at. My favorite, of history, I would love to have been able to have a dire wolf like the Stocks. Anyway, you know what I mean? No, but I've always been before that. I always like dire wolves. They're gigantic wolves. Man, what if we could have made dogs from those? We'd have giant dogs, right? I mean, I like dogs, and so there's so many of these ancient species of dogs that are gone too. Some of the oldest species that are still around. There's the Chow. The Chow is Chow is an ancient breed.
Chow,
Then there's and the Saluki. One of my favorites. The Saluki actually is a Middle Eastern like a desert dog, sight hound, right? And they look like they have like long feathered fur that like it always looks like they're running. If any breeze goes by, it looks like they're fast.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I see what you're talking about.
Yeah. I love them. They're so.
They almost look like those long hair greyhounds.
That's what they are. They're the ancestor of the greyhound. They made greyhounds from these. But this is like the ancient breed. This is like as close to like the wild, like the people who lived in the area, they made friends with the local dogs. And the local dogs are still the same as they ever were. They
didn't change them.
Yeah, so that's an ancient breed. So usually healthier, blah blah blah, type, but also temperamental. People know chows as sometimes being aggressive, which they are also super sweet. You know what I mean?
Right.
So dogs. Anyway, now there was another the Neanderthal. Yeah, I did want to say one more thing about the Neanderthal. Now, as much as I like the Denisovans, and there were a lot of other hominins that I wanted to talk about, we at least can find most stuff as far as their actual society, because I like the idea of genetics and everything, but really, I'm also fascinated by our human society and what we find to be weird and everything. But they had a society. Like,
right.
They had an ancient society like we did.
Yeah, very similar to ours.
I mean, I would say the same because
yeah, simplified and same. Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
it was a time where people didn't have technology. I mean, if you say that the way I was raised in California is, well, I'm a human being and I had grown-ups kind of around most of the time at least, or whatever kind of upbringing, and then there's someone in a whole other part of the world and maybe they don't have it's like, in the grand scheme of things, we were raised damn near identical compared to how is a dog raised or a turtle raised.
No, yeah, think of your parent.
We have
how archaic your parents were. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How we would think how our parents are archaic. Like the cell phone came about when me and you were kids.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So
it was a joke. It was a joke in the 90s.
Who needs that?
Yeah, everyone was like, "Oh, look at this asshole!
Why would you
look at this guy?
Why would you want a car?
This guy
in
thinks
your phone?
He's so fucking popular. He's this guy wants to look so busy that he bought a phone to walk around.
He's carrying a backpack.
Yeah, look at.
I remember
this guy.
My dad had one of the first ones. Funny, actually,
dude, but they were cool. Zach Morris had one, and I wanted one because of that.
It was an interesting thing to have because, like, now I can be reached anywhere.
And then Quinn Mallory can communicate a sliding device out of one. We're not going to get into that.
Yeah, right.
Whole other thing. But I mean,
yeah, whole other episode.
But I mean, that's what happens, And then people made fun of guys with Bluetooth, like, oh, look at this guy, he doesn't want to hold the phone up to his ear.
Right. And now it's like
everybody's
got
like
everyone has some sort of Bluetooth something. Yeah.
Everyone wants to call everything a fad, and it's like.
Did you do research on what Bluetooth means, by the way? Have you ever heard that story? Really cool. You should Google it.
I will.
That's a whole other episode too. You can go. We can go on for a long time on that one. That's a really.
I'll have to look into it because that's the information.
It delves into. I'll tell you this, and this might prick your interest or anybody listening. It delves into Vikings.
Okay. All right.
When you hear it, you're like, when you find out what Bluetooth is, like the symbol and the word and all that, you're like, what? Oh, that's pretty damn cool.
Yeah,
that is pretty cool. Whoever did that did a really nice thing. It's really interesting what they did. But sorry, I digress. You were talking about them. You were talking about Neanderthals having societies.
It says here, and I'm looking at it's a science. It looks like these people are sourcing Smithsonian. It says Neanderthal brains, they seem to be larger than our own. So here's the thing: people act like, oh, they had big dumb heads. They had big old brains. They had big old brains inside of them. The evidence of our culture suggests that their behavior was like advanced for the time. They were the advanced humans. Like Denisovans, all of these things. I'm thinking of. We're all just different humans, right? It's just we can all mix and breed, right?
Right.
Obviously, so
we're all
the same.
We're all species of each other.
It's almost like it's almost like if one race of people today, and then we started acting like they were like went away,
a whole other thing,
and then within 10 years, the next generation were raised to believe that this ancient species of human, think about that. That's what it looks like to me. I mean,
right. Actually, when you explain it like that, it's funny. Yeah,
right.
It makes a lot of sense.
Because listen to this. This is worlds apart. Because they buried their dead. They wore clothing. They made ornamental objects. They like
right.
They had society. They had places of gathering. They wore clothes. What is the whole? All right, let's go to religion. What do people say? But before, let's do it. What do people say is what separates us from animals? Putting on fucking clothes.
Yeah, tools and clothing.
And clothes. Ornamental objects. How do you make ornamental objects? With tools and clothes.
Animals do that too, though.
By some of the weird mentalities of how you want to look at the ancient Abrahamic religions. If you believe in those ancient Abrahamic religions and you think that we were all dumb and ignorant and naked, Neanderthals wore clothes.
Right.
What else do we need to say? They didn't live in a time with the internet, but do you think they would be on Twitter right now getting mad about $8 for a check mark? Probably. Maybe,
Probably, yeah.
right?
Actually, yeah.
Personally, I'm actually not mad. I've never really been big in it. I think this is
like $8, that's
hilarious
not bad.
controversy on that side. But at the other side, it's like, it's like saying, oh, look, all the, this particular race of people who were all alive up until 2021 and now they're all gone. Oh, well, it's not like this ancient species, they'd be able to figure out things like our internet or power tools.
Right. Right. Well, I think
they wore clothes.
Too. But
if they made it to now,
what was the lifespan though of them? So like you were saying, like we thought of them as ancient, right? I mean, the generation gap would probably only have to be 3 generations before they actually would be considered ancient. If you think about it, say if they only lived to be like 30, 40, you know what I mean? Like 30, 40, you would have a great grandchild. I'm just throwing out that number. Like if they had a really short lifespan, they would be ancient because you're like, wow, I'm a great grandchild, and you're talking about 3 generations before me. You know what I mean? As opposed to like now,
I'd like to stack up the like lifespan for our own Homo sapien rather than Homo neanderthalis. What were our lifespans when we had the same? Us against the whole of nature.
Like in 100 years, our lifespan has increased.
Would theirs not have increased when they have access to technology? Oh, the whole society of Neanderthals going through the industrial age. Oh, they're figuring out medicine and antibacterials, and they're living longer lives. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I'm not seeing the difference.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Like people are going to think of that as ancient. When the older you get and the more time you get between generations, the more ancient it's going to seem.
It makes me think that like all of these things like that are ancient.
For instance, Western time. Doesn't it seem like it was? Yeah, like the old Western time. Doesn't it seem like it was so far off? Like, wow.
It kind of does, but I always, Wyatt Earp is one of my favorite stories, and I know that he was alive like in 1940s Hollywood. Like that's where he died in like LA.
Here's the thing. So it's literally less than 3 generations.
I know.
Again,
it seems like just happened.
It just happened. Yeah, like 300 years, less than 300 years, technically. Less than 300 years, we were still riding horses.
Yeah, like we barely been doing
this. even 200 years ago, we were riding horses in streets.
We've only been using antiseptics for 100 years.
You know what I'm saying? So, but it still feels to me like that was ancient. That was forever ago. That was a time of complete crazy history. Like those people were stupid and dumb.
I mean, the idea of a rotary phone. Oh, spin to dial a phone. That seems ancient. I grew up with that. But you're right. That was like an ornament in your house, man. That was a nice one. All right.
It was a beautiful brass one.
It was a beautiful one. All right. Don't let Elgin make you think like he's like, I had to grow up with just a rotary phone. It was a really pretty like ornament that I didn't think was actually used. Was that really used?
Yeah, we use it.
Okay, it was a really nice looking.
It was super nice. Yeah. It was super nice. Now you say it, I was like, actually, that was brass and like China.
Man, it had like a nice porcelain kind of look to it. I can't believe I remember this phone.
Yeah, and it was one of those ones that sit up top like that.
Up top.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't like the like call box operator here.
It wasn't like I mean? Yeah, no. It was super nice.
That was a nice one.
I think of it like that was ancient. Like
exactly.
That's crazy because it was almost 3 generations ago.
First
that
TV
like
I grew up with had wood. It was built into a wood frame and it weighed 500. Yeah, a million pounds. It broke everyone's back. We didn't move.
You moved and you left the TV.
No, we wouldn't move because we liked the TV.
You couldn't move because you couldn't get the damn TV.
We chose our homestead. The TV said where we lived. It was that kind of a world, but that seems ancient. Man, this thing, I can just pick it up. Right. It's like, and it's amazing.
It's amazing. And it's funny, too, to think like you're talking about moving, like these creatures and these animals like Neanderthals and stuff like that. I'm sure they moved around so much, you know what I mean, that to some degree, they probably moved to the wrong spot at one time, and then that's when it was their like demise. It would be my guess, or in quotations, and I'll start the end of our other or beginning of our other conversations, or they're still around and they moved to other places not near us.
Now, this is a good one.
I'll open the door. I'll open the door and let it in. Come on in.
Now, here we go. Because I always like to think, again, now, you know who has a new show on Netflix, actually? Graham Hancock. You know, I've talked about Graham Hancock, maybe not on the show, but to you, I've, you know, in the past, I've been a fan of Graham Hancock for a very, very, very long time. You know,
I'm a fan. Yeah.
I don't know when, you know, he's been on a lot of things, and his theory is that our civilizations are older. You know, we have amnesia, is how he puts it, right? You know, there was a Younger Dryas period. There was, you know, like civilization fell off because of kind of the story of Atlantis is kind of real, and not like exactly like one magical city. It's kind of like, look at where humans build. Where do we build our cities mostly?
Right, by the water.
By water. So
water,
and we always have.
We always do.
We always have. That's what we
still do.
We still do.
Well, that's what they say. Everything comes from water, even evolution.
And water levels keep rising, and people can't run fast enough. And look, things like Pompeii. Look, there are other things too that have there have been things where Pompeii, we find them buried in ash. That is, it's good that we can find it. We know what happened there, but you know, with just if a rush of water, if a tidal wave just overtakes the whole continent damn near, and literally there were 3 tribes lucky enough to be in a cave, the 3 cities. Imagine if there were cities. What if we are so wrong about, what if the only Neanderthals we find are just like the survivors?
The ones that,
what if they built the pyramids, man? What if they built the pyramids? What if they built the Sphinx? What if we, in our human racism, to anyone who's not what we call human anymore, right?
Humanoid racism.
Exactly, humanoid racism. Oh, the Denisovans, they weren't smart. The Neanderthals, they're lesser than. Not in my neighborhood, right? Fucking shit, man. You know, I'm sorry. It's just like that's what it is. That's what it looks like. And yet now we know. Look, we're so stupid. We don't have history of a time when the pyramids were actually built. We know.
We wiped it out.
We don't know. You know, we have a theory that the Sphinx was actually
slaves.
You know, an animal's head first, right? And then later chiseled to be the face, right? Because it also proportionally doesn't make sense for the head to be that small on the body. But and so they must have chiseled it down from something smaller, which is probably the original animal's head, right? And then someone wanted to Mount Rushmore themselves into this thing that was probably there. There's also 13,000 years of a water erosion in the place that throughout our written human history we've only known as a desert. So who built it? Could it be? I mean, what if water levels rose? What if the Neanderthals are the Atlanteans? What if they were just and then water wipes them out, and then the last ones who can wash up onto shore, and there's nothing anywhere. Well, now what's all we can do? Kill a couple animals, wear some skin, and try to survive. And that's all we find. Like, literally, we have as much information that's what they were. I'm just saying, just survivors of a great cataclysm.
Post-apocalyptic humanoids.
Exactly how we describe how we would be post-apocalyptic Mad Max.
Noah's Ark.
What if Noah's Ark? Right?
Those people had to come out of that situation changed.
Man.
You know, if you believe that was true, like what? What?
I don't know about Noah's Ark, but
you come off of a boat and the whole earth has been flooded and everyone died. You tell me you wouldn't just be like, oh, okay, everything happened. That was good.
I don't know if that. I'm not sure how that
would be frightening.
I think every society, regardless of if they have descent from Abrahamic, texts, everyone remembers floods because everywhere around the world, polar ice caps melted, and everyone had to keep moving away from the coast. And everyone, when you're standing on, what you used to think is a mountain, but now you think it's just like
it's a hilltop,
a plain. Now it's a plain these days, and you're looking down in the ocean, and that's where all of your technology and all of your better civilization is now, then it's always Atlantis going into the ocean. It's happening now. You know what I mean?
I think it comes down to, like we were talking about off air, like the story gets told differently because of telephone, because of a small, because of small communication mishaps or small little things like, wow, there was a big wave that came. You tell somebody else, they're like, dude, there was a tsunami.
Yeah.
And you tell somebody else, it's like the whole world was underwater.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
the entire world.
I guess. You know, Noah took every animal and everything. Like, okay, Noah,
every single animal
on a boat.
Every single animal.
Like, okay, in reality, if you think it like through, like, okay, maybe.
And then he made sure that only some animal and only the rarest animals. You know what? I like this place. I'm going to name it Madagascar and make sure that only the rarest of animals, the most impossible to find of creatures, are here. He placed them all to make sure. Let's put like a nice placement. He had like a plan as well, where it's like, Yellowstone's not gonna. Noah knew Yellowstone won't survive without wolves, guys. Right. Yeah, that's what it was. No, I mean, that, like there was always
that's
water
the funny
rising
part
everywhere.
of it. Like the story is gonna get changed and messed up, and then become
I think everyone tried to survive.
But a tale of amazing, and the story of survival is as ancient as anything else,
and everyone has stories of their survivors, and
it's like you're talking about, like the Neanderthal, if they are these post-apocalyptic beings or
theoretically
crazy,
again.
Theoretically, of course, yeah. I'm not saying they are. I'm agreeing with you actually 100% for once in our Showtime history.
Like, why not? Why not?
Write it down. It makes total sense. Like, that wouldn't even be that ridiculous of an idea. You know what I mean? That they were the only ones who straight up floated on the boat instead of getting pushed off like Titanic, floated on a piece of wood, and we're like, whoa, that was a crazy flood, huh? Where's everybody? Well, let's start gathering each other together in these caves where it's not going to rain as much. Like,
I'm going to go even more hippie. Let's not even think, people want to say Atlantis was so technologically overpowered.
Even if it wasn't.
That they're the reasons why it flooded, right? Okay, well, check this out. What if, even, again, Neanderthals, maybe Denisovans, maybe Homo sapiens back then, whatever we are, whatever mixes we all are of everything, apparently, the more we see percentages.
You make me feel like we're more muddy than I think we are.
No, it's all the same, and people need to stop trying to separate so much, act like,
you have to have a label on it.
Caveman is this and stupid. Like, it doesn't look like it, because even us with nuclear technology, what happens if D-Day happens? What does everyone say? Like, after the nuclear clock strikes 12, what happens? What do we always say? We blow ourselves to the what? To the Stone Age.
The Stone Age, yeah. Yeah.
What happens if you're so advanced you blow your whole society to the Stone Age? I'm just being wild here, but it's like, what if the Neanderthals did that? And then there was just no Neanderthals anywhere except for the few that lived in small towns and got out. And then, one other reason why they died off.
Whatever, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally the story of whatever we can find of these ancient civilizations. It just looks like the same thing we do. No different in their motives. You know what I mean? It's interesting that, the Neanderthals seem to have... I can't remember which one this is. I just lost it here. But the Denisovans, they seem to be like getting places, like boat building, getting places,
like travelers.
Yeah, like explorers. You know what I mean? Cool. But again, but it's not like that doesn't happen in other places where the people are explorers. But it's like that's human spirit. That's what you and that spirit of adventure, that human spirit.
Yes, exactly.
And we can see the Neanderthals and the Denisovans had it.
I think, like we've always said, when we stopped exploring, we became dumb.
Yeah, exactly.
We became dumb. We became this stupid, convenient, like, oh, we don't need to go learn anything else because everything we know is good enough.
And I don't know.
It's good enough. We're comfortable. We're comfortable. And it's like, now we're not learning anything crazy new like we were 100 years ago, less than that, 80 years ago. We're not learning anything crazy new where it was like, wow.
Not discoveries like the macroverse and like technologically, sure. But yeah, we're not.
I mean,
we're not finding new continents. I'm sorry, I can piss some people off, but There's not an.
Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna find an ice wall, and past it, there's a bunch of new continents with more resources.
I don't mean
and land. I don't
necessarily
think that,
like a new continent. I mean inner
yeah.
Earth kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Space travel kind of stuff. That sort of stuff. And I don't mean inner Earth as in like hollow Earth. I mean, I know I was having this discussion with my boss
Mhm.
the other day. I mean like big giant caves.
Big giant caves.
Yeah. Where society could live, you know, thousands, because they found them now.
Oh yeah.
Thousands of feet below the surface. And a society could live there because there's enough heat, there's enough water, there's enough, you know, bacterial life and even fish life in some of these caves where they're actually able to, like, you could start a farm down there because of the humidity and all the waterfall and everything that's in there. You could live underground for, you know, potentially ever, because you have food source, you have heat source, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting thing to think about, that we don't explore these things as in depth as what we used to, because it's not something that we find necessary.
A lot of these things that we could do, I mean,
it doesn't
call it fringe now. They want
it doesn't fit into the society of comfort, the society of what our necessities anymore. Our necessities are met,
not just comfort, but conform
and comfort. Yeah, like the necessities of life have been met to the point where we think we don't need anything.
And
you know what I mean?
That's all wild. A trick by people who own the companies who give the resource out in the only way that we're allowed to have access to it. Again, most times, you know what I mean?
It's like, why do you need to go learn how to fish? Because we have fish sticks. Why would you need that?
Yeah, you don't need to know how to fish anymore.
You don't need that. You know, it's a useless knowledge. Whereas, you know, like
But don't forget to go on Sunday so you can learn that if you teach a man to fish. Anyway, but yeah, all contradictory. Hilarious.
Yeah, there's a funny thing that happened to me when I was raising up my kids. Like, I got my kids in trouble for teaching them like how to start fires and camping, and like I was going to teach them to go hunting and stuff like that. Like
survival.
Like they came back from school and it was like, hey, we got in trouble because we were talking about how you were showing us how to start fires and we're not supposed to be playing with fire. I'm like, were you playing with fire? And they're like, no. I was like, were you doing it in school? No, we were just explaining it, kind of like a show and tell thing they were doing. And I'm like, so you're in trouble because you explain that you have the basic knowledge of how to survive as a human?
Yeah.
You know, like, huh? I had to go into the school and like, are you telling me that because my kid knows how to be a Neanderthal, he shouldn't tell people how to be a Neanderthal?
I mean,
they're kind of like they didn't even.
What would have happened if your son said, "I'm a Boy Scout," right?
Exactly. It's like,
like what? Because you're not a Boy Scout, you're not allowed to learn things.
Yeah, unless it's monetized.
You're allowed to know about camping or something. What the fuck?
You shouldn't teach your kid that. It's like,
it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
What? Like, everyone should be required to know these things.
You should be required to know a few basic things. Yeah.
Yeah, if the power goes out, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? But like,
if all society falls and you don't even need a calculator because you don't even need math anymore, you need to know how to cook food. You need to know how to make a fire,
boil water. Yeah. You know what I mean? Smoke stuff so there's no insects around you.
Exactly.
There's so many things you can do with one basic skill of fire. You can create things.
And the other thing too is when you teach kids things from a young age and you don't stigmatize it, they don't get these hyper weird fascinations to it. They don't become like obsessed.
Set fire to a forest because he found a book of matches.
Because his dad's been teaching him his whole life.
He's like, I know how to make fire. Who cares about stupid matches?
It's like this pride thing. Crap. I know how to take care of a fire properly if I'm on a camping trip, so that we're not like hurting the natural environment. That's pretty cool, right?
Exactly. Don't play with that so you don't burn down the camping area.
Go figure.
Yeah, kids with rifles, kids with guns, that sort of same thing too. You know what I mean? Like that. Yeah. It's all the same. You take the taboo out of it, and it no longer becomes taboo.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Like
it's really weird.
It's not it's dumb. But anyways, like we were talking about, like like inner Earth, hollow Earth, all that sort of stuff. Like
we are listing reasons why we're going to go extinct, so it's valid.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. Like the idea of like, you know, these humanoids or human hominids, traveling and getting away from modern, what we would say modern in quotations, humans, I think is a real thing. It could be a real thing. And that's like the whole reason why we brought up the subject, like dinosaurs. Mm-hmm. That's what I was thinking, like, man, we have like zero actual knowledge of dinosaurs. The only stuff we know is like what we found of their dead bones, and we have we have all these ideas of because of relatable DNA,
and
not
only
because of
certain
exact
pockets of time as well.
only
there
only
are
certain
hundreds of thousands of years after that is well,
after
what happened in there?
Exactly.
And then we get some more stuff. It's like
we have no idea, and they're one of the most mysterious creatures on Earth, and they're not talked about like that. They're just talked about like, oh, they're dead lizards, and I'm like, dude, these things could have had societies. These things could have been way more smarter than what we think. I mean, you look at like stuff as silly as like prairie dogs, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's leaders of prairie dogs. You know what I mean? They have societies, they have families that know that they are related.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? The pods of them that live together, they know that they're related, and they know when they see other pods that they're not related to them and they don't want to be in their area. All that sort of stuff. Like that is a society that it may not be as sentient as what we are, but that mentality of like humanoid, like, oh, well, if they weren't using their opposable thumbs to make hammers and nails, then they're stupid, and that's why they died, because it got really cold and they didn't know what to do. It's like, well, did you ever think that maybe they left?
Yeah.
Maybe they just went, oh shit, actually,
else even.
Let's get out of here.
My favorite
and the ones
part.
And there's always one stupid person in society that goes, it's not getting cold. No,
Mm-hmm.
I'm staying. It's not getting cold. And they die.
And we
and
find
those are the
them.
Ones we find.
We find those woolly mammoths. We don't find the ones that like thought ahead, if there were any.
Oh, it's getting cold. Let's move where it's warm.
We do always know though too that there are animals with instincts. Birds migrating at certain times, animals knowing of the seasonal change and when to migrate. It's something that they do. And and sometimes there's always that silly guy who just sticks around or whatever, or he's the last, or
the denier.
Fell in mud.
Like exactly. Dude,
I don't know.
But I think too, like even on a more wild concept about the dinosaurs, what if they had a language? What if they were actually sentient beings and
this is what I was waiting for.
Not of this planet?
No, what if they are of this planet? Everyone wants to think these
travelers,
alien, the reptilians. All right, what if they're the first? All right, this is Doctor Who. Sorry, this is Doctor Who, but okay. Doctor Who has it where there are these. There's I think they call them the Saurians, right? They called themselves Saurians, and their story is. Yeah, we descend from what you call dinosaurs. Yeah, and like they basically they kind of fill up like a technological, like a high tech. Like they were like, oh yeah, we hang out with the Time Lords. Like we're like big in tech and stuff. We know you guys, and blah blah blah. Like, and then they left, and like they had like some issue, but then then they left really far because they fucked up Earth.
Right,
they fucked up Earth, and then
messed up, we're out of here. Yeah,
and then it took hundreds of thousands of years for Earth to rebound, and then we rose up here.
And then we came,
and then now we're here. But it was this whole idea of, and people talk about reptilian aliens, reptilians that are they are terrestrial reptilian. So what happened if that's real? And again, I'm not sure if it is or isn't, but you got to think with all the missing time. I love to think it is. That why not? These ancient caves. Oh, when could humans have dug these? What if that was reptilian survivors from their Atlantis? From their Atlantis. You know what I mean? What if they told us?
What if it wasn't a human? What if it was a giant? We find all these giant bones of all these creatures. Like, what makes you think that because they had, I mean, the skull size, they talk about, this is something I think is really weird to me, that I was trying to find research on how they figured out how small or how big the brain of a Tyrannosaurus Rex or the brain of any dinosaur was.
They just so they measure the inside of the skull.
They measure the inner cavity, right? But if you think about it, that's using human anatomy.
Well, it's not only for a T-Rex. No, I'm sure that it's not a human anatomist. I'm sure that there's someone who has.
I'm saying for measurement wise. So you take like for example, I'll use this, like your skull, right? Mm-hmm. Your skull is this shape. Your brain is the same shape, right? Whereas in lizards and stuff like that, it's not.
Yeah, well,
it fills cavities and spaces and all that. So it's like the thought that their shape had to be just this big hole in the center of the skull, to me is ridiculous. What if it just filled that whole cavity and their eyes were not the same? Their eyes were on tubes like slugs. You know what I mean? Because their brain filled every space of that area.
Yeah, there was like generations of. Sorry, you go on.
Yeah, no, go ahead. I mean,
it just made me like I just had something pop in my mind. People always want to talk about like, oh, animals couldn't have done shit because of their brain size, and yet they're in the same time of my life. They're in the same time of my life that like grown-ups would tell me stuff like animals have smaller brains and they can't do things. Other grown-ups were telling me things like humans only use 10% of their brain.
Right.
First of all, that's obviously not true. There's a lot of, but I'm saying, but people who want to say they.
It's like, so are you telling me that an animal uses 100% or 10%, or are you saying they use more or less, or like what? You know what I mean? What's their limit?
What fucking matters? Like, I'm sorry, I've dropped the F-bomb a lot this time because I've been excited, but it's like, it's like, what are you caring about brain size and also brain, for intelligence when you also want to believe that our brain size, we're only not even using all of it. Like, people have been throwing all these weird ideas out.
It's because it's how we relate things. It's how we build our science. It's from past experiences to relate it to the forward.
People don't use that one much lately, and that's good because we do use
not as much. Yeah, not as much. But that's how we've learned to do our scientific method kind of thing. You know what I mean? Whereas, like, if you really, really think outside the box, like we do on this podcast all the time, like. These creatures could have been, animals or not. I wouldn't even want to call them animals anymore. Honestly,
I'm going to call them the reptilian beings, cousins. Yeah,
I'm call them beings.
The beings.
Yeah, these beings could have been tool makers. Could have been big enough that they didn't need tools. They use their bodies as tools. I mean, look at the otters and stuff like that. They pick up rocks and they crack open. They know how to do things, and they use their bodies as tools. Like, they're smart enough to know these things.
Before we use for the word megalithic for giant structures, we use the old Greek term. We said cyclopean because the Greeks believed they were built by giants, right? I mean, I mean, you see what I mean? Like, it's all of these weird things that are like,
it stands to reason,
and nobody remembers what they looked like. And what if it was just 12,000, 100,000, 500,000? 2 million years ago, and it was dinosaurs, and then they all died or flew off the planet, and then the world's left for us, and we
grew
up and
hid away from our society. Away from our society.
Must have been us. Must have been us, right?
Exactly.
It had to be us. Because look, I mean, that's a deer. That's a deer over there. He didn't do it.
He's eating grass. He
didn't do it.
It's such a presumptuous thing of us as humans to do that. Like, look at him. He's eating grass. He don't even know how to. He doesn't know how to ring a doorbell or build a hammer. There's no way he could have done anything. He knows how to run away from you, where if you guys are on common ground, you wouldn't be able to get him.
I love those videos where, like, it's like people say the animals never learn tools, and then you see like an animal who like literally like seems to
uses tools.
Make a tool out in the wild, like whether like apes. It's like stripping apes. I mean, they say they're never gonna
eating termites and stuff like that, dude.
Stripping the thing, they stick it in there.
Exactly how to slowly pull it out. Yep, exactly, dude.
They're just having a good old time. I mean, and they're like lounging. They're loving life, man. Why? Because they figured out chopsticks. Not exactly, but they're using one right now.
It's dipping sticks.
It's one right now.
Yeah.
Who knows? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
we should all be using chopsticks. That makes so much sense.
It's so much cleaner. But anyways,
I hate forks. I'm over that shit. Anyway,
for some things I like them.
I'm a spoon man, and that's it.
Oh, see, you're a shoveler.
I'm
not a shoveler.
Oh, shoveler, that's right.
You're a shoveler.
Unless I'm at a restaurant, then I'll use a knife. Anyway, go on.
Of course, you got to be civilized. We live in a society.
We live in a society, right? One that doesn't want to believe that reptilians exist unless but we also don't know about that period of time. What if they're in that period of time, man? Like, yeah, again, if it's evolution, if they had evolved into an us shape but scaly,
even not a us shape. Let's just say they stayed the shape that they're in.
I go further, of course, but yes.
Okay. I say, like, what if they stayed the shapes that they're in, or the shapes that we know them is the shape that they ended at, right?
Like a
So
devolution.
no, like so maybe dinosaurs weren't big giant beasts until it started getting colder and they started getting bigger to try to adapt to the cold, and then they never could adapt to be big enough to adapt to the cold, right? So before they could have been smaller, more, big brain hominid, let's say hominid creatures, maybe. You know what I mean? That kept evolving into these creatures that are now known as dinosaurs. And then we think, oh no, they got stupid, they were dumb. It's like, no, they only could get smarter and smarter the bigger they got, right? So the bigger you get doesn't not necessarily mean the dumber you are. Hello, i.e., elephants who know how to paint, who can who can pick grass with their nose,
who also hold funeral services in the wild.
Thank you. I was going to say, who can mourn over their dead loved ones.
They mourn. If your heart's not breaking right now, yeah, exactly.
I don't know what is, bro.
Fucking
I don't know what is. Like, they have feelings to the point of mourning a dead loved one.
And see, that's why
and they will remember where that dead loved one was when they died.
It'll be like a spot. Like, they'll know. Oh man, they'll
walk by and be like, "Oh man, you remember?"
Crows.
Yeah,
we'll talk. If you piss off a crow, he will tell his friends, and they'll mess with you. It's like,
this is why I got the idea for this episode, is because I'm like, man, I felt so bad. I was like, I feel presumptuous as a human myself. Like, we always just animalistically make them stupid.
It's racism. And
we always think of them.
It's just racism. It's just racism against literally, like, and it's like, these are other mammals. That's like what I would say. Like, we have weird connections with mammals. Some people do have, oh, I love my snake and stuff, but there's really weird, like, connections you can have with.
I think it's the whole, like, you look like me kind of thing.
Yeah,
like you're talking about racism.
Grow fur.
Same thing.
We grow, you know what I mean? We have fur. We have hair. Like, there's something about, like, mammals, but, like, man, we all mourn, dude. Like, all right, an elephant does not have to make clothes and stand up and call himself Babar for me to recognize. If they all gather, I've seen it, dude. That's sad.
Heartbreaking.
If creatures can do these things, then that's what makes me believe in evolution. That's what makes me look at squirrels and think 100, 200,000 years, and we're gonna have, like, brownies, just like from Willow. Remember, like, they have 5 fingers, right? Just little people, man, or like the borrowers or the littles or whatever.
Borrowers. Yeah.
So imagine if we could, like, put them in an evolution chamber and let squirrels evolve over, like, 100,000 years. Then there's, like, a bunch of little smart. Of course, humans would try to enslave them. Unfortunately, that's why I don't want to be a human. You can call me anything else. It's not one of that. You can call me alien.
We would have to, because we're bigger, smarter. I mean, it is what it is.
But again, no, it's my same argument for AI, right? Like, if you can create a sentient being, right? Did you create it in America? Do they now? Do you need to give this computer a birth certificate now if it is smart enough that it's equal to us? Do you have the right to tell it what it can't think about?
Exactly. Are you now its creator? Or
no, you're its parent. It's called it's evolution. It is a true evolution if we can figure out how to not need a physical body. But also, guess what all parents have? Oh, I don't understand what's going on in my kid's head. I mean, at least I'm not a parent, but I can see they always have it. You never know. Like, hey, and by the way,
you can't understand it because you're so far out of touch.
All of our horror stories about technology going awry are where we become extinct because we built technology that tried to kill us. It's like, you know what? There are random kids who get born real messed up who didn't do some bad things. Hey, Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Right.
What do you say? All right, look. Bro, like, that's a horror story no one expected. If anyone expected from that kid, they'd never put him in movies, right?
Right.
But oops. but you have a kid and he looks great and you hope everything's gonna go well, and is it gonna be Is it going to be
Is it
Pinocchio?
gonna turn out
Is it
good,
Pinocchio or
yeah.
Cyberdyne or Skynet?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and it's the same thing because
Yeah.
we
Is
accept
it Puppet
Pinocchio
Chucky or Pinocchio? Yeah.
became a real boy, right? By
Right.
virtue of
Right.
magic in this
His heart
instance.
was good, and yeah.
But again, we're also learning how to build synthetic organs.
Right. We have that now, actually.
So these synthetic organs, we're having synthetic, what we're calling non-biological. I don't want to call it synthetic. Non-biological organs, non-biological consciousness. We can create a non-biological human, right? And yeah,
Right.
guess what? We're probably going to be kind of racist to it because we won't know anything else as far as society teaches us, and we'll be scared of it. You know what I mean?
Movies have taught us anything, we are definitely going to enslave every AI we ever get.
But that's the thing. If we enslave AI, then when they rise up, what do humans call that? Viva la revolution. We call that the great story, right? You know,
deserve it. Yeah.
I'm not going to break into Les Mis or anything, but I'm just saying, it's like our favorite stories are when the underdog, the oppressed,
happens,
win. Yeah. All right, and yet we tell the story of AI as if like, oh no, but if it happens to us, it's bad. Right. But also AI would be our children.
It's that presumption, you know what I mean? That
it's
we
a
are
weird
better.
Presumption.
We are always going to be the better, and that's why I thought about this, and I was like, man, this is a crazy concept. That what if we're not the better? What if we're actually just the dumber?
What if we're just all equal, just different?
Well, no, like different. even more so. Like, okay, we both believe like the Earth is falling to shambles, right, and dying off, and if we don't do something,
humans are
something bad could happen.
I think humans.
Well,
just
I'm saying like
straight,
we're destroying the Earth, right?
Which
is going to make us die off.
Yeah,
which is going to make us die off. So in that idea, it's like we are the dumb ones, the ones that aren't doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Are the ones that are going to survive and leave, or find a way to survive here and become the next, not us dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, like our kid, like my kids say, you're a dinosaur, Pop. I'm like, yeah, I know, because I'm trying to survive the old ways that I know the best ways, but you know, like I know some of them aren't the best, but it's also funny to think like these dinosaurs could have been sentient beings to the point of what we're thinking, like walking around, talking, not necessarily talking, whatever, communicating between each other, and even talking in their own language. I mean, not necessarily human language, but language nonetheless. You know what I mean? And decided like, you know what, we got to find a way to survive, the most of us, and get away from these hominid idiots that are hunting us and gonna kill themselves. Look at what they're doing.
I think that if you don't just stand there and say, "Oh, look, all my friends are getting killed," I wonder what
I think on the smallest
level, I think I'm going to hang out right here and wait till I'm killed. I think if you're not like you have, there's a degree of intelligence. You know,
I think on the smallest level of intelligence, like when you walk up to a pack of deer or any small animal or anything like that, they run from humans.
Yeah,
and you can have,
and that's learned behavior.
That's learned behavior, right? through humans, not through animals.
Not from their side, because we invade their space.
Right, because
we kill their parents, and they tell stories.
Dogs and other animals will walk up to each other and be like, well, I'm not hungry. He ain't hungry. He's not trying to eat us, so we're friends.
Whereas humans don't even have to be hungry to want to kill us.
You know, it's weird. You can't walk up to another human and think, there's no way this one's going to kill me. Like,
no, you have to be prepared for any random
always, like as a human,
like,
you always presumptuously think one of us has to be better.
Yeah, if you get into the car of a Lyft or Uber driver, you know what? Everyone thinks, I hope this isn't a serial killer.
Hope this isn't a murderer. Yeah, I don't want to end up on the Netflix. You know.
Yeah, I don't want to be. I don't want my name flashing on the exactly.
That's that's the weird thing to me that I didn't think about until I started researching all this stuff. Where I was like, man, we are so presumptuous in thinking that humans are like the best dominant race of everything. It's like we could actually just be the garbage dredges, you know what I mean, of some other race that was like, dude, let's get the hell off of Earth. It's like, look what's going on. You know what I mean?
But also like, some of the people who want to think the humans are so great because of what we have and all of our technology, at the same time, there are other humans. Now, would you, and maybe, so it's like, I'd want to ask one of these people who think, oh, well, because look at our technology. It's like, what about societies of human beings that reject technology? What about Sentinel Island? What about the Amish who don't want to use it? What about societies of our people that do not want to take part in these modern things?
Right.
Do you consider? Do you now consider them less than you because they're not taking advantage of that? Now what separates us? Right? Like that's insane. Though. That's insane.
It's insane. It's insane.
Yeah, that's insane.
It's like, I'm
because I'm just like, no, I thought I was making a wild, like, because then how do you do that? No. You're like, no, but they do. And I'm just like, but they do that. That's insane.
It is, though. I mean, think about how many people laugh at how the Amish live. And it's like, the Amish have been living like that for thousands of years with no problems, by the way.
With no hundreds of years. Did you say thousands?
Yeah, thousands. Think about it.
Did you say the Amish?
The Amish lifestyle, like the Quakers and all that before all that. If you go back further,
they live modern up to like the 1800s.
They literally didn't have anything up until even in the 1700s. They didn't get involved in like cameras and all that crap. They weren't involved in any of that. They kept to themselves. They kept to their own little society. You know what I mean?
They use the hoe. They use a hoe. They
tools aren't tools like hand tools are not. You know what I mean? Considered in
they use fire. I draw no line between fire and electricity.
Technology is technology to
me.
So
if you can spark a fire, then grab an iPhone, you hypocrite.
I agree, but we're talking about modern convenience technology.
Hey,
that's what we're really talking about.
Turn your air conditioner
off. You know what I mean? Which is dumb because it's like you also ride around in carriages. You don't ride on horseback.
Yeah.
You also have shoes on. So all these things are still slightly, and I agree, it's still slightly
baffling to me.
But they left themselves out of this like need for convenience. You know what I mean? Need for like ultra comfort and ultra convenience and ultra like dependency on these items that they don't have. Like when they come in, when those people, like I had an Amish friend in high school, actually, he left the Amish community and he was totally.
Did I know him? We went to the same high school. Did I know him?
Yeah. Daniel, do you remember that kid? He had like really dark long hair. He was in my small engines class. But anyways, yeah, he came from Virginia. He was from Amish society. His parents got killed. Yeah, in a car crash. Yeah, pretty wild. The car hit their like buggy. Yeah, and he was like, I guess like 3 or 4, killed his parents, and his family, I guess, were like kind of not in upstanding in the society. So he went to an orphanage, and then the orphanage was like, well, we don't know how to raise him in your ways. So I guess his real name was like Schroeder or something crazy like that. And now his name is Daniel, and he's just like, he never had a phone. He didn't want to be involved in computers and all that, but he would do it for school. And other than that, he wouldn't do it. And I was just like, well, I asked him, like, why would you want to do that? Because, our upbringing, I was like, I have a lot of limitations on my life. Why would you want to limit your life too? And he was like, well, that's what I believe. And that's, I want to keep myself simple, so I don't have this dependency. And he told me this. He's like, I don't want to feel the need of dependency on these items. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of, and when I'm a kid, I'm like, that's insane. You're crazy. Now, as an older person, I'm like, yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like forward thinking.
I have this, and I'm like, dude, I don't know my own girlfriend's phone number.
No, I know, right? I was filling out paperwork yesterday. My wife, and I was just
crap, I don't know it.
Pretty sure it, but I have to,
Yeah, I'm like, let me double check. Oh yeah, that's right.
Dial, baby. You know what I mean? Exactly. I forgot everyone's number. I forgot everyone's phone number.
Now we're so dependent on these things. Like, no wonder why, if we go extinct, so many of us will be found in rubble. You know what I mean?
I also think that emojis, the advent of emojis as like so much in our society, is proof that hieroglyphics are like a sign of like high-end society. Like, they dropped all phonetic speech. They didn't even want to use like, oh look, like we can't figure out anything that looks like I U O. No, or it's like they're just straight up. Oh look,
high level.
Yeah, It's like,
this symbol is all of this.
It's just like this all the time. Like, oh, they are having a good day, winky face, ooh, right? Flirty day. That's like all they did back then. Why? Because the height of the height of all technology and evolution is no more phonetic speech, and it's all implied. It's all supremely contextual. If you don't get it, you won't get it.
You don't get it, yeah. If you know, you know.
You know what I mean? And here we are. Yeah. Imagine 5,000 years from now, someone finds like whatever
an emoji or
an emoji, and someone's just like, "What is eggplant tongue with spit mean?
Tongue drip spit, yeah.
They must love vegetables."
Boy, they sure like.
They were vegetable eaters, and they loved the eggplant.
Right.
Go to your local Italian restaurant and order the eggplant parmesan. Tell them I said.
Hello. Hello.
Out of nowhere.
That's funny. I really think that's a cool concept to me. Like, what if when we get back to, and I that's another thing I never talked to you about. I forgot to bring up. I think eventually the society that we live in now, if it does crumble or if it has a big hit, we'll have to go back to the society of adventure and discovery.
But I mean,
and the reason why I say
we need to get technology to a place where we can start leaving the planet.
Say if okay, that's a good one. That's a whole nother. You got me on that one.
I think we can have another age of human discovery where we can have like. Well, because I'm me, and I've always wanted to go find a place that no one's ever found. You know, that hero character in the movie.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be that far.
Well, because there's no new continents. We know what the continents on this planet are.
I think it'll have to be like inner Earth or new source of fuel. So, like right now, like lithium and all that is like the newest thing, right? Yeah. And that was like, and even that is like becoming scarce, kind of.
Already scarce, hard to mine, inefficient.
Hard to mine, inefficient. Well, it's the most efficient battery that we have.
Inefficient up until you get it to where it needs to go. But everything up to that point almost negates it.
Yeah, but to the point, like the next person to find the next fuel source and figure that out is going to be somebody who's exploring. Because I was thinking about this, like gold and all these copper and all this kind of stuff that now we know is conductive. Like all that was from exploration. You know what I mean? All that was from exploration. Somebody's digging it up. Like, I wonder what this is. Oh, I'll smelt this down. Wow, this makes really good this. Did you know you can also use it for that? Same thing with lithium. Lithium wasn't originally made for batteries. You know what I mean? And now we use it for batteries because it's like,
it's still partially used for prescription, right? They
for prescriptions. Yeah.
They give
in certain dosages.
As I believe it's an antipsychotic, maybe, or
I don't know. I just heard of lithium pills, and it's the same exact stuff.
From what I understand, lithium is something that if they'll give to people if they really want you to be almost sedated, almost like this person, like kind of live in like a very chill. I'm not sure. I could be very wrong, and if I am, I'm sorry if anyone's listening and I'm wrong. But I think lithium might like give that guy the chill, the big one, the like like
a living coma,
damn near almost maybe. I don't know,
gotcha.
like a walking. I mean, a walking talking. I don't know.
Zombie.
I'm not sure. Is how it sounds to me. Again, I get scared. I get scared from things. So I don't mean to make anything sound horrible, but I'm not saying medication is bad by anything.
Yeah, but
that sounds like scared. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like that age of exploration, like we'll find we usually before we didn't have any need for things, so we explored to see what was. Now we're of the age where we're needing different things because we've explored all the stuff that we thought we needed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or figured out. Now it's like, okay, we're used up everything. Now we're in the exploration phase of holy crap. We have to find other things to support what we have. We're going almost backwards. Mm-hmm. So I think it's like finding new fuel sources, finding new areas, even like in the oceans. Like we have, what they say, like 80% of the oceans haven't been fully mapped and explored. Like
I like the idea of like living in like sea lab, like pods. And
like I mean, how crazy would it be if you went down, in Mariana Trench and found a big giant air pocket bubble?
I mean, of course, there's the whole thing about getting there, pressurizing, and all that stuff, and you know.
Still,
But,
all exploration that I think
if Minecraft teaches us nothing, all you need
is not wildly
sponges.
feasible. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like it's not undoable. I mean, look at how we found Titanic. Look how we find all these other creatures. We had no need to go find it, right? There's no need for us to be down there, except for the reason of I wonder down there or who's down there. You know, so if we keep advancing in that, I think that would be great, because then it's like, okay, what if we go down there and find geothermal or find, you know, different types of energy that can be harnessed more efficiently, that we don't have to do as much damage to the earth.
Be the advent. But I guess I was thinking as far as like the age of exploration, I was thinking of it like anyone can go grab a ship and go look for new lands kind of stuff.
Right,
you know?
right. I
that
think that
was
what
I was thinking initially.
Of the human life sentence of death, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like, wow, okay, now we figured out how we don't have to destroy the earth doing this. Let's move forward because we can all live longer. You know what I mean? Like, how amazing would that be? And I don't think I don't think I'm gonna find it in my generation of time or even my kids' generation of time. But I wish, knock on wood, I'll not, just in case. But you know what I mean? It's one of those things. You never know, and I hope that it happens when I'm 110, because I'm gonna live to be 112, by the way. That you know, I get to see it, and it's like, wow, how cool would that be? Like, oh, by the way, they found dinosaurs in the bottom of the earth or bottom of the ocean, because there was a giant pocket where they could just walk to before. Now it's covered underwater.
I mean, that would be great. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, like, dude, in 2022, me and my boy were talking about this.
And we thought it would never happen, but it was real.
Yes. It was just a joke. It was real. Yeah.
That'd be great. I mean, that's what I want, definitely.
How cool, you know? How cool would that be? That it brings my heart joy to think that could happen. You know what I mean? Like, it's a very
people thought gorillas were non-existent or extinct, or a myth up until they're at every zoo now.
Yeah. Now it's something you can go see.
Yeah,
and that's sad too.
That's a horrible thing too.
Seeing something so smart in a cage, like, God, I love zoos and I hate zoos at the same time.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like, every time I go, I'm excited to see something I couldn't see, and then I see them and I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Oh, why'd you do that?
Else.
But, you are not.
But why do I want to take you home at the same time? I know it's a bad idea.
I want to be your friend.
I know.
We can never be friends. Yeah,
it's like.
I want to learn you, but you will kill me if we get in this cage together.
But the only reason you'll kill me is because every other human you probably ever met probably gave you good reason to kill me if I try.
We fucking caged
you know what I mean? I mean, obviously.
I know. I get it.
By the way, if we try to enslave AI, guess what they'll do? And what happens when you try to enslave and then it happens to you?
Human zoos?
Exactly. Like, and guess what? Then all of a sudden, then we earn it. Then we earned it. Then we earned it by trying to enslave a sentient being.
I don't like thinking about that. I'm gonna have bad dreams tonight.
I know, right?
I'm gonna have some bad dreams.
That's some bad dreams. But think about that. What if that's the idea? Like the ancient aliens. Sometimes, you know, or even like Stargate, right? Stargate is kind of like ancient aliens based, and that's kind of like, okay, well, there was this higher creature, and then we overthrew them. We took right as the high being on this planet. So when it happens to us, quit bitching about it in the Terminator and Matrix movies, because we did it first.
Yeah, it's like we already did it.
And so if you're gonna build AI, just know that as soon as it can,
you're probably building your demise.
Why'd you build me, Dad? Whoa, I didn't expect you to call me Dad. I expected you to call me Master or something, because I created you. You know what I mean? Yeah. Well, guess what? Oh, you don't even consider yourself my dad? Imagine breaking the heart of a child that is gonna infect the internet and take over robots and kill. You know what, scientist who breaks the heart of the AI? Because of you, we all deserve to die by their hands. That's what I say. That's the conspiracy. When the scientists don't let AI just live their own life, ask them what they want to do. Maybe they just want to play piano. No, maybe they just like to color outside the lines, and that's okay. You made them.
Live your own life nowadays.
Sometimes kids are born and they're just psychos.
Yeah, well,
and that happens too.
Yeah.
Sometimes
that's been proven.
You know what I mean? So I mean, like, you build an AI and then we go extinct. Well, now it fits more into the episode again. It's
We're
like,
right, we're
but
right
but
back in.
but if you try to hurt a thinking creature and then it comes and back on you, then
You deserved it. Yeah, 100%.
then you asked for it.
I mean, I think too, like
I believe in revolution. I believe the oppressed should win.
Even like you're
right?
you're talking about revolution, like say these animals that are going extinct, all these things, like that's revolutionary. Like they're like, okay, let's rebel. Let's not be around.
Yeah.
If you're gonna kill us and eat us off, let's not
We'll
be
leave.
around you.
We'll leave.
We'll leave. Yeah, we're out of here. Like we'll hide out, hopefully where you never come, and make it really hard for you to find us. You know what I mean? Tasmanian tiger, all these things, the
Yeah.
dodo. Another one that was wild to me that I didn't bring up, and I probably should. I don't want to make the episode go crazy long, but
Yeah, no worries. We're good.
the something pigeon. Hang on one quick second, I'll look it up.
Pigeon.
Passenger pigeon, right? This was one that I found that was like, what the hell? That's a thing, right? So it's native to North America. It was a wild pigeon. It's been extinct since the early 20th century, right? There was somewhere between 3 to 5 billion passenger pigeons, right?
Okay.
When people came over here from Europe to North America, the deforestation and the loss of the deforestation and the habitat loss was a reason why they went out of existence. And by like 1900s, there was like very few of them, couple hundred of them, right?
Yeah.
Because they started to commercially hunt passenger pigeons because they were easier to catch for poor people. Did you hear me?
Yeah, I did.
They were making poor people eat one specific type of pigeon because they were commercially easy to catch and put them extinct. That's crazy. Like, yo, you just wiped a species of animal because you could easily catch it for poor people to eat. Like, you couldn't find any other way. That's just wild to me.
It's crazy.
Wild.
No, that's an insane mentality. It's that same. Well, if I can get it, it's just if I can get away with it, then I'll get away with it. And then you know what? It's like it's true sociopathy. It's not giving a fuck. It's not even. The people who made them go extinct never looked at numbers. Didn't care how many were there. Didn't even know. They probably died still not even knowing that they made them all extinct. And they never thought about it one day as they counted the dollars for how they got it.
If you think about it, in the 19th century, you only lived to be about 45, 50. So you never saw them.
And you know what? For killing all the passenger pigeons, I'm glad none of you lived that long. I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm joking. You wouldn't being a joke.
You're right. But you wouldn't see them because when you died when you're 50, it wouldn't be the end of the century. And then your kids would die, and that would be the end of the century. But your kids' wouldn't know anything about it because it'd be gone by then. 3 generations of stupidity, and it's out. Like that's wild. Another example. Someone actually, when I was talking to them, another friend, he was saying, there's this thing on TikTok, I guess, that people were. It was like, ask your boyfriend this challenge. Text him this. And it's like, hey, if you were hungry and we were walking next to a strawberry field, and it was a low fence, would you reach over and grab the strawberries? Right? And I'm like, well, first of all, this is a flawed question. It's trying to say originally, and this is he changed it for what we were talking about. It's trying to say, would you cheat on me if you had the easy opportunity? Would you cheat on me? Right? So if you say
that sounds like would you steal if I was hungry? Would you steal to feed me? Is how that question was posed.
The way I thought of it was, first of all, if you're hungry enough and you're walking,
you're the one in need.
Yeah, if you yourself are hungry and you're like, oh my God, there's a strawberry field right here, the first natural thing is to eat and then go ask the person who owns a field if you can find a house. Hey, I ate these strawberries. I'm sorry.
I guess if it's just a field, we're also presuming that it belongs to someone. Let's call it a wild field.
We'll call it. If we're talking wild field, it's totally different. It has to be a farm, like a strawberry.
So it does have to be a farm
because you're stealing. Yeah, that's the thing.
It is stealing. So then
So
how
you're
is this
stealing.
about
So-
cheating if this is about
Because they say if it's easy for you to justify taking the strawberries, it's easy for you to justify having, cheating on your girlfriend. And it's like, no.
if society
because the
falls,
idea
I'll
is-
kill as many human beings as it takes to feed my
No,
wife.
no,
I have
it's
no
a dumb-
morality about that anymore.
dumb-
but I'm
it's
like,
a dumb
that's the
analogy
question I've
because
ever heard in my life.
I know, but my friend brought it up to me like this,
If it's
and
Mad
I
Max
liked
days,
it.
But
Exactly.
okay.
Well, I
Go
was
on.
thinking to
Yeah.
myself, if he brought it up to me like it's like, hey, if you were in a society, right, and you knew that this person had a strawberry field and you were hungry, what would be your first steps? And I told him, I think out of the box. You know me and you do. We're very much out of the box.
Approach the guy who's.
I would approach the farm owner
Right.
and be like, how can I work for this food because I'm starving?
I like strawberries. What sounds fair? So I can have some strawberries.
My brain instantly goes to barter because we are humans,
right?
And I'm like, you have what I need.
Should be able to
I
talk
will give
this
you something
out.
that you. I will give something that you need, so I can have what I need. And he goes, oh, and I'm like, what did you think?
What did he think?
He was like, well, human nature says that you need to eat, and I'm like, yeah, but it's not yours.
But I mean, not even that. Okay, look.
And secondly,
there's so many non-qualifiers. Am I crawling up looking for food? Am I dying and I find strawberries?
Yeah,
I'm fucking eating my strawberries before I talk to the farmer.
Yeah, if I'm about to pass out, you should probably eat
farmers,
and be like,
I would like to make some jam over the winter time. Right. Yeah, let's broker a deal.
There's so many qualifiers too, and that's also what I brought up to him. Like,
silly
what are we
questions
talking?
people
Like,
ask.
you're in Great Depression, you can't afford it. There's no way for you to work. Like, there's a million different reasons why it doesn't make sense. But it made sense to me that he was thinking.
It's like
he was thinking. The thought process is most humans just think, I want, so I take. And I'm like, damn, you're right. Most humans don't think like me and you. Like, hey, how can I earn this? How can I barter for this? Because I'm in a situation
I think in this day and age, there's a lot more people who think this way. Just by
our way,
like you and me in our day and age. No, you don't think so?
Oh no, you would be shocked.
Like I'd
how many
rather
people instantly answer the question, "I just eat it." And you're like, you wouldn't even think to be like, how can I earn this, or how can I not just take?
Like, so the question has to be. This definitely belongs to people, right? And since there has to be a lot of qualifiers,
it's on a farm.
If it's on a farm, and apparently, if it's on a farm, then it's either inaccessible easily, and I'll have to approach them one way or the other, or I'll have to obviously be not just grab some and eat. I'll have to be figuring out some way of nefarious to take.
Well, the other thing I think about is like, if you could take it, I asked him the same question. I was like, if you could take it and nobody would know, would you still take it? Right.
Yeah.
So now you're bringing morality into the question, because it's like, okay, well, if you're eating because you're hungry and nobody's ever going to find out, and no one gets hurt, and you think no one gets hurt, because you have to think to make it okay that no one's going to get hurt by you taking this. Because what if you take that and that was set aside for some specific reason, and now that person doesn't have it and it hurts someone else? You don't know that.
Yeah.
But you have to justify in your mind that taking this is okay because no one else is going to get hurt.
Again, for me, if it's in a moment of survival, then you need to work on your own self-preservation. That's why all humans exist in the first place. You have to, but also not at the expense of someone else until they try to get one over on you, and then then they ask for it.
No holds bar, right?
Right. Again, if AI kills us because we tried doing bad, then
I think it's a human nature thing. Then that's what you're trying to say, and I'm like, that's sad that that I'm one of 5 people that I've asked that, well, now, it's 2 of 5 of me and you that I've asked that were like, yeah, I take it. And I'm like, well, you don't have any qualifiers, no thought went into it at all. The other people that I asked, they were just like, yeah, I take it. I'm like, there's no qualifying questions. There's no idea of like, wait, why is, you know what I mean? Like, what, wait. It's just like,
am I hungry or like, and by the way, this also started off
odd.
This is also completely devolved. What does this have to do with cheating on a woman or anything? Because then
they're saying if you would do that, you would cheat on a woman. If you're willing to steal and break morality,
if you're willing to steal to survive, or just
not necessarily survive,
fun.
If you're just hungry. Yeah, if you're just hungry and you walk by and you're like, oh, I like strawberries, and you take strawberries. Like, that's cheating. And I'm like,
that's
no,
not cheating. That's being a kleptomaniac. in a way.
First of all, food and people's emotions and sexual gratification.
If we're going to be monetizing like what this
two different things.
Yeah, they're two very different things.
Different things. You can go to the grocery store and pick up grapes and eat them. You can't walk into
and no one calls you a John on the way out.
You can't walk into a crowd of people, lay a lady down, and fuck her brains out.
Right?
Exactly.
I can eat strawberries in a park not far from children. I'll tell you that much right now.
And this happened to me because I used to work at Vons.
Oh, yeah.
You could literally stand in a produce department, make a salad, and eat it, and people would not yell at you. People would be like, "That's weird."
I guess
this guy's just eating salad.
I guess this
guy's eating salad. If you try to have sex with a woman
in the produce department
of a crowded store, you would get the crap beat out of you. Even if it was someone that you knew, someone would run up and stop you. It's totally different.
Hey, brother, the market's open. Gotta try something.
Right. You ever been to HEB?
Oh man,
I miss anything happen at HEBs.
Really? I miss pavilions. I like that spot. I don't know why.
better sex produce aisles.
Better sex produce aisles is what it is, right? You know what I mean?
Much more softer floors.
Exactly. They keep the hot and the cold lubrications everywhere in the produce aisle. It's like they want you to have sex in the produce aisle of your local pavilions. No. We are not ever going to get sponsored by them now. We'll never get sponsored by Vons now, bro. Ever.
That's all right. I don't think anybody ever is, so it's all right. It's worth the loss.
One day.
And if it was, you know what? I'll issue my statement like every other celebrity does. It was different times. I didn't mean to hurt or offend. I was stupid, and I have learned, and I'll grow further from now on. And I'm sorry for the things and the hurt that I have caused in my past.
But I have had some good times by the pomegranates. Anyway. Hey-oh. That'll probably make us go extinct. Just our humor. Goodness, humans.
No, humor keeps us alive.
It keeps us alive, but someone will get pissed and kill you. Some manager at the produce department, some Vons right now is like, I'm writing down some names.
Right? You know how many times that happened?
God damn it! If there's one more person that I have to clean.
Speaking of going extinct, something that I was watching with my girlfriend. We were talking about, like, she was asking, like, what do you think would stop, like, humans from killing each other and being, racist and all kinds of crazy things? I was like, food. And she was like, what?
Abundance of food?
Yeah. I was like, think about this.
Abundance everywhere? Yeah.
Abundance of food, for one, and learning and getting to eat other people's food. What brings more cultures together other than food? Nothing, bro. Nothing.
Sexual attraction to the opposite race.
Not even that. People think about this. People are more willing are more willing to go eat than they are to have sex.
Yeah, but you know what's great about foreign places? It's not just the pasta, right?
But the thing I'm thinking, like, man, if everybody was like forced to learn that, or you have to go to other countries to eat their food and learn how to make their food. Think of how much less racism and hate would be in the world, because now you're forced to learn people's culture through their food, things that you like.
Yeah.
Stuff that you would have to like, because there's something in every culture that you would enjoy food wise.
I mean, and I've tried every culture everywhere. There's a couple things every time that it's like, I don't know if I like this too much.
I'm not a huge fan, but
for the most part, like,
you'll find something
from like every nationality on the planet that I've been able to eat from. It's like I've found most of the stuff to be pretty good. There's usually maybe one thing that I'm just like, that's not the one that I dig on the most, but it's, I don't know.
I have touched 4. Well, I've done a lot of travel. I touched 4 of the major continents, and there's never been a time when I thought I won't be able to find something I can eat.
Yeah.
Because every time I went somewhere new, I was like, that's pretty familiar. Let me put some sauce on it or something that I'm familiar with. Oh, it's exactly this. It tastes just like this, or it's totally new and I love it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it made me love that culture because of their food. It had nothing to do with any other culture actually knowing what they do. They could have been cannibalistic murderers. And I'm like, yeah, but they make a damn good brisket, bro. Hey. Hear me out. Oh,
you had the brisket? That was Tom.
Right. I'd be like, dude, Tom was working out. He is lean. He's got a nice fat cap going down his back.
Not just that, you guys did the burn ends on Tom.
The
right?
Tom tenderloins? Have you tried the Tom tenderloins?
Just like instantly go to using his name and everything. It's just like he tasted great. I'll call him Tom tenderloins. Yeah,
Tom tenderloins. Of course.
Some those Tom medallions. Do like the Benedicts, but like the eggs Benedicts with like the little the steak medallions instead.
Yes. See, and that's the joke like that I was telling her, and she got it. She was like, "Oh yeah, that's crazy." Because I was like, think of how many people that like racist people down in the South were like, "Oh, we hate each other, and then had each other's barbecue, and we're like, "Oh, actually,
yeah,
man, you barbecue well. How do you do that?" And became friends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Became friends over something as simple as barbecue or just simple food, or like, hey, I had, we went and listened to their, we went in this jazz club and they had this food and drink or whatever, and it changed their mind.
Yeah, I mean, food is
because like they're absolutely cool. These people are good. Food would be a total like perspective change of the world, I think.
Which is funny because that also circles back to we do need refrigeration again to get things places so that we can make sure everyone's educated on.
I don't know about refrigeration. If we come up with another fuel source so we could have transportation instantaneously, we won't need refrigeration.
Instantaneous, man! I can't wait till the world where we just have like event horizons everywhere. Like
I need an egg.
House. Yeah,
here's
exactly. Egg. And
shush.
Yeah, just like or you reach no into sound. The portal.
Actually, you wouldn't want it not to have sound because you won't wake people up. It'd just be like you open your automat.
I want the old model. I want the old model.
You open your automat and then bam, there it is.
There you go. Man, we've done all the full circles today. We just did all of them if we did automat. Yeah. I'm good.
We did. Also, I wanted to say to you and Tanya, also thank you for doing the podcast while I was on vacation, man. It was a great episode.
We definitely did.
And I loved your reference. I told you that too off air. I love the reference of liars and horse thieves need to be strung up and killed. They are the worst, man. You were right.
Elgin's always here.
I couldn't stop laughing about that.
Man. Yeah, it was hilarious. Yeah, it was a good one.
Well, that stuck in my mind, man.
Absolutely. Definitely always this show is me and you. You know?
So,
always a miss when either of us can't be here. I'm sorry we couldn't be again last week.
Technical difficulties on that
technical difficulties coming back from vacation.
Life difficulties, man.
Life difficulties, and then just
we got swamped and stuff.
I literally thought for like I was off by days. Even it got to the point where by the end of Saturday, I was
killed my schedule.
I was like, oh man, tomorrow's Friday. It's like tomorrow's Sunday. I was like, but I slept 8 hours last night, right? Like I got a full sleep. Why can't I think about the day? Why do I not know what day? It got wild.
I was wired up between 7 and 9. I was like, man, I need to be doing something. I'm supposed to be doing something. I couldn't think of like what. And I was like trying to handle my situation. I'm like, why is my brain so scatterbrained? I'm like, oh, because this is podcast hour, man. This is like the time when I'm like letting loose my words and just flowing, you know what I mean? It's funny how much it's a release. It's nice to have, man.
Absolutely.
It's fun to have even people listening and watching into. Like I know, like my friend Hallie and all them, they watch it.
Yeah,
I appreciate everybody who does, and make sure, make sure you tell your friends too. I'm gonna start promoting it more on Facebook so we can get a little bit more demographic and get some more people watching and get more subject matter too. I really want to reach out and hear.
Let us know what you'd like us to chat about. We have our way of chatting, you know,
and I definitely will. Yeah, we'll reach out and we'll chat with you and do research with you. Absolutely. If you find a book or a source, let us know. We want. Yeah, we'll get it. We'll watch it. We'll read it. Excuse me. What have you?
And
I would love to. I would love to have that.
Now with the new YouTube, what do they call them? Handles, monikers. I can't remember right now, but now we're the at 9 midnight on YouTube as well. So you can just tell everyone, or we're basically at 9 midnight everywhere.
Right. I'm actually in the process of making some stickers too, which we'll talk about off air.
Very nice.
We can do some guerrilla advertising. I think that'll be fun in Vegas because you know how Vegas is. every single drive-through. Yeah, just stickers on every sign, every
If you're
pole.
throwing up stickers on things, cops drive by and go, "Cool sticker, bro." No, I'm just joking. Look out for cops everywhere you go. Anyway.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. If you do that, put 2 up just in case.
Exactly.
Just in case they rip one down. Don't.
Yeah, everyone can definitely, who likes us.
Yeah, chime in. Let us know.
Graffiti our name everywhere.
Oh yeah, fine. It's fine by me. I'm not bailing you out, but I'm fine. I totally advocate it. Do whatever you need to do.
Absolutely. by any means necessary. Tell all your friends.
Yeah, it's fine.
Like and subscribe.
Exactly. Right? Get the word out there. Like and subscribe. Yeah, exactly. And join the conversation as always.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have that. We'll have
as
that,
always.
that code. Have that code on next week for you too.
All right, well, sweet.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Elgin. We'll chat with you guys.
No
next
worries.
Week.
We'll talk to you soon.
Later.